So yes, he fulfills both of the two tenets of fascism that you just described.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely not wrong.
Can you name another tenet of fascism on your phone screen that he doesn't pertain to?
Sure. And yeah, I'm on my computer. Let's see. I'm just reading these and I'm just trying to figure out which one. Obsession with crime and punishment.
Obsession with crime and punishment. What did he have to say about E. Jean Carroll? He says that he wants to lock her up because he was able to find him liable for raping her in court. What did he say about Hillary Clinton? Put her in jail. What has he said about Hunter Biden, the entirety of the Biden family? Put them all in jail. What has he said about Obama? Put him in jail. What has he said about DRUG dealers? He wants to sentence them to death. He's threatened. Aaron, like his administration has threatened Aaron Parnas with criminality against them. One of my buddies over on Twitter had the Secret Service show up at his house for saying that we should get Trump out of office. I mean, he's trying to reopen fucking Alcatraz. He called for the death penalty for the Central Park 5 10 years after they were exonerated. He's been arresting judges. Brianna, thank you so much for the motorcycle. I appreciate that. Obsession with crime and punishment of undocumented migrants. Obsession with crime and punishment of people that he just suspects to be undocumented migrants, even if they're citizens. He's so obsessed with it that he's been illegally deporting undocumented migrants.
Why do you think Trump is so obsessed with deporting illegal migrants?
I don't know. Probably a mix of appealing to his base because that's what he's ran on, and bigotry.
Mm-hmm. Hold up. This is my first serious time ever hopping on your live, and I appreciate you also for doing this for me, by the way. Bigotry, obstinate or unreasonable attachment to a belief or fashion. Okay, I am trying to understand what you're saying. So, I mean, I'm just at a loss for words. I mean, that was just a lot to take in. And
doesn't it kind of raise some red flags in your brain that I actually do have an argument for how he fulfills every tenet of fascism? Does it set any red flags off?
I mean, it definitely sets red flags. But let me ask you this: I mean, what would Kamala Harris have done better?
Everything. Seriously, everything. Name one housing affordability policy. She ran on it. Trump didn't. Healthcare policy. She ran on some. Trump didn't. Economic policy. Unlike Trump's policy that's going to redistribute wealth from the poor to the rich, her policy was tax cuts just for 100 million American workers and low and the middle class. Foreign affairs, fight for Ukraine, and less support for Israel comparative to Trump. Domestic economic policy, he wants to tariff everyone. She wants to tariff nobody and focus on the globalization of commerce, which strengthens and emboldens the American economy. Social issues like women's rights. His directive to overturn Roe v. Wade has entailed that 60 pregnant rape victims per day are denied access to abortion in 10 of our states, and 66 million American women and girls don't have access to elective abortions. Every single one of those is a human rights violations. I mean, there's seriously not one category where I see Trump excel over Kamala Harris.
So I do want to talk about the abortion piece of it. I remember seeing a clip about Trump talking about abortion and how he wanted to only give it for special cases. And the way that I kind of look at it, I don't think it should be necessarily more of a right, but more of a privilege. For example, abortion should really only be given in cases of incest, of rape, of babies that could be trivializing the mother's life. But at the same time, I don't think you should be allowed to have an abortion simply because you can't have an abortion.
Okay, why not?
Why not? Because for one, that's another human life that you're just taking account for. And for me personally, I think that's very lustful for you just to have sex. Understanding the fact that it's meant to have reproduction and to create life in general, and you're just taking that entire beauty and love away from it, and you're just doing it just for physical sensation.
Okay, so you've indicated to me one reason why you think elective abortions are wrong. You think it would indicate that lustful sex is bad, and that's one reason why women shouldn't have access. Is there any other reasons that you think women shouldn't have access to elective abortions outside of lustful sex?
I can't think of anything on top of my head off the dome.
Really? You can't think of anything else apart from the action that the woman engaged in that led to the conception? Really? Anything else?
I mean, if there's something that I should be saying, you can point me to the right direction.
I want to give you just an opportunity to name any other reason why you think the abortion is wrong apart from lustful sex.
I mean, the fact that you're killing a potential life.
There you go. Oh my God, I was so scared that you weren't gonna get there. See, when you hinge your entire abortion position on like the mother consented to intercourse, knowing that it ran the risk of pregnancy, you just are objectively like stating that there's no value associated with the life of the fetus. You're not pro-life. You're just pro-control of women who uphold different values in the context of romance, intimacy, and intercourse, and that leads to terrible outcomes for the family unit and women and children alike. So now tell me, you're killing a potential life. What does that mean?
They could potentially grow up. I don't know the whole scientific
They could
terminology.
potentially grow up to be like you and me.
They go from like a zygote to the baby, I believe.
Okay.
They go.
You know, like the sperm cell that was necessary for your conception and for my conception?
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
You know how like both of our conceptions required a sperm cell and an egg, right?
Right.
Okay. So that sperm cell and that egg could potentially be a person like you and me in the future. In fact, it was. Would have been wrong for like my dad to pull out, killing that potential life.
It's not risking the mother's life. I get what you mean. Wear a condom.
Oh, so if you do wear a condom and unwanted pregnancy still occurs, they were responsible enough and they should be able to go and get abortion?
Take a plan B.
If they wear a condom and take a plan B and pregnancy still occurs, should they be able to go and get an abortion?
What's the probability of that, though?
Incredibly low. If it occurs, should they be able to go and get an abortion?
That's a special case, and I have never thought about that.
In that special case, should they be able to get abortion?
That's hard. I understand because they were purposely not trying to have a baby and they did everything they could. I think there's still like a term that you're morally agreeing to when you're having like an act of sex. Now you know that there's always going to be a chance to have a baby. If that
Bruh, okay, hey, if I smoke cigs and I acknowledge that there's a chance that will give me lung cancer in the future, and I do get lung cancer in the future, should I have to just own up to the consequences of my action and deal with the lung cancer, or should I be able to go to the hospital and ask a doctor to terminate the life of the lung cancer?
So, I'm glad that you brought that up. My father, he's been smoking cigarettes since he was legally able to, and he's a big smoker. And like I've always talked with him about it, and I mean he accepts it, and he knows that he has a nicotine addiction, and he understands it. So I think they just accept. I mean, he just accepts.
But if a cigarette smoker were to get lung cancer, should they have the legal right to request medical treatment that they pay for?
That's medical treatment. That's not dealing with another life. Yeah.
Oh, so then you're just shifting the goalposts. Your argument is no longer about the fact that you think that the woman consented to an action acknowledging the risks of an unwanted outcome, therefore she has to deal with the outcome. Now you're saying that abortion is wrong because of the value of the life of the fetus. So why is the life of the fetus morally valuable?
Because that's life.
Okay, it's life. Are you a vegan?
I am. No, I am not. No.
Okay, are cows, chicken, and pigs life?
They are, but they don't have a soul.
Oh, so you value the fetus because that is a soul. Okay, what's a soul?
That's. I mean, a soul is just like you. That's your entire base. That's weird.
So no explanation granted. They have a soul. That's what makes it wrong. Why can't I just say that cows and chickens have souls at that point?
Like that's your conviction. That's your conviction. That's the best way that I can put it. It is what your mind and your heart revolves around. That is how you are able to connect with yourself and with the environment around you.
So like sentience, like consciousness?
Like what?
Like conscious, like the conscious experience?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's what makes fetuses valuable?
They have a soul, yes.
Like the conscious, but you think that the soul is just a conscious experience?
It's not. I don't think it's just a conscious experience.
So then what else is it?
A fetus in the womb doesn't necessarily have a consciousness. Like we don't remember.
Bam, yeah, because low levels of consciousness don't develop until around 20 through 24 weeks gestation. So if you want to uphold the position that it becomes wrong to kill another human if they can exhibit any level of sentience, well, that just means that it's not wrong to kill that human until around 20 to 24 weeks gestation, meaning you, sir, would be pro-choice.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm at a loss for words on this topic. I don't know how far I can really go onto this anymore.
Because I feel like I understand that you're at a loss for words, and I really appreciate you for acknowledging that. The reason why you're at a loss for words is because you haven't put as much of a nuanced, intricate, in-depth thought into the topic of abortion compared to like me. Okay, but I think
Yeah.
that's dangerous because like, what if you're wrong, dude? It's like you just kind of look at this issue of abortion, put some surface level thought on it, and you're like, I've now determined that I want to violate and terminate the access to healthcare of like 100 million women and girls in America. Yet, like that's a lot of weight, dude. I'm pretty sure when we have these discussions about like access to healthcare, access to a procedure that's performed by a doctor for miscellaneous reasons, like we need to be putting a lot of thought into these things.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree. I mean, this is. I mean, I definitely think that everyone needs to speak their mind, speak their truth, and put their thought into it.
Do you happen to be religious by the way?
Yeah.
It's
Did I give it
it's a
away?
religion that makes you
Did
pro-life,
I give
right?
it away? I try. So I try not to mix my religious opinions with my political opinions. I had a good talk with my parents about that too, because I didn't know exactly what to do regarding that. I'm I've
Easy.
only been
I got a really easy fix. You
I've
hold to
only
a religion that dictates that abortion is wrong, but that's a personal faith-based relationship between you and the creator that you believe in. Why doesn't this just imply that you, Zachary, would never personally get an abortion because you personally think it's wrong?
What are you trying to ask? I don't really get that.
Yeah, you believe in this faith-based religion. Okay, it's only like justification is like your own internal faith within it. It's a very like personal experience, but I think it's very unfair for you to take this inherently faith-based belief and like kind of portray and apply it to other people that may not share that same belief as yourself.
Hmm.
I think like the furthest reaching extent that like you should do as an individual with faith-based beliefs that dictate that abortion is wrong is just like focus on proactive solutions that care for women that reduce the amount of abortions, such as like increasing the quality of life for new families. Or increase the quality and access to education surrounding what sex is and what it leads to and forms of contraceptive. Like, if we could just produce like a better informed, demographic with higher levels of access to these resources, like the number of abortions that we see will just naturally continue to fall. It's like 55% of women indicate that they get abortions because of reasons relating to financial insecurity. Okay, well, you hate that. You hate abortions. That's terrible under your view. So why don't you like try to seek out solutions to eliminate that financial responsibility for new families?
I haven't thought that far about thinking of different solutions for it. I don't know exactly what I can do. I mean, what's a 19-year-old kid in college gonna do with his mind about thinking of different alternatives to help women and to find
How old do you think I am?
I don't maybe young 20s. You might be able to find a career. I don't know.
I am 20.
Okay.
In fact, I've been doing this since I was 18.
Okay. I'm definitely getting more interested in politics and I'm really enjoying this. But so there was a comment that you said and another comment that I saw from the feed talking about I shouldn't be able to control others and I should control myself. Absolutely. And when you're talking about the faith piece as well, I'm the reason why I definitely don't mix my religion with my political views, or at least try to, is because I'm not trying to like spread my religion onto other people. I'm not trying to. I'm a Christian, by the way, just to put that out there. I'm not trying to push my Christian beliefs onto other people that might be atheist, agnostic, Muslim, Jewish. That's not my point. My point is that I want to unify everyone as a society because that is my religious obligation, and I want to separate that from politics. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, I think that you're doing a whole lot better than like 90% of Christians. I'll give you that. I gotta like respect progress where I see it. Um, but I think that you seem to have an open mind, and that these conversations may be very valuable to you. Do you have anything else that you want to go over before I move on to the next guest?
Nah, I'm ready to get these 6.2 thousand people off my head. I want to get off this live now.
You should if you have some free time, maybe like tune in and listen a little bit more to these conversations. I think that
I've definitely been listening to your live.
they could be valuable for you, man. You seem open minded. You seem like somebody that can change.
I always try to stay open minded. I'm definitely open to changing. It just depends. I just want what's best for everybody else.
So do I. So do I, Zach. Hey, you have a good rest of your day, man.
You too. Thank you, Dean.
Of course. Yo, what's up, Austin? How old are you?
Yo, I'm 19.
Cool. Before we hop into a debate, I have a couple people to thank. I don't know where the fuck did it go? Where did it go? It just deleted itself off of my YouTube feed. Yo, but I just know that it's there, even though I can't see it. Sid, thank you so much for the $100 super chat over on YouTube. Let's get 1,000 Sid W's down below in the chat. Holy fuck. Thank you, Sid. Sid says, hi, Dean. My boss and I have been watching the stream and she really wants you to say hi, Mallory. If you guys are still watching, hello, Mallory. It is so good to meet you. Shout out to Mallory and Sid. Thank you so much for the $100 fucking super chat. Seriously, that is insane, Sid. As well as Veteran, thank you for the $50 super chat, saying still doing so much more than my politicians. Keep fighting the good fight, sir. Veteran, you know I love you. You know I respect you. Huge shout out to Veteran for the $50 fucking super chat. And Josh with the $20 super chat, saying, Dean, you're forgetting that the lustful six makes people happy and it's bad when people are happy. So bad when people are happy. It's terrible. Eradicate all happiness. Get rid of it. Thank you for the love, Josh. I want to see some love for Sid, Josh, and Veteran down below in that chat. Literally right the fuck now. I would also like to show some love to Danny for the $30 donation over on Venmo. Shout out Danny, that is D-A-N-I. Let's get 300 Danny W's. As well as Ashley, thank you for the 5. Christina with a 1. Ryan with a 1. Thank you so much. As well as Elliot with the $6 and the 66 cents over on Venmo. Thank you so much for the love, Elliot. And then Brianna with a $50 over on PayPal. Holy fuck, Brianna. Brianna says, always good to see you. I have a stressful appointment tomorrow. Thank you for this distraction. Jesus, Brianna, I really hope you're okay. But thank you for the $50 donation. Huge shout out to Brianna. And then LeVar, thank you for the $10 over on PayPal, saying triggering MAGA pocket watchers. They're so mad. Asif, thank you for the $10, saying love your work. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Huge shout out to Asif, LeVar, Brianna, Elliot, Sid, Josh, and Veteran. And take it away, Austin. Why are you MAGA?
I just really got into politics last year, and I feel like Trump was a better option than Kamala.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Why would you ever think just such a terrible thing? I mean, have you seen how the presidents he's been going? He's been running this country into the ground, sir.
Well, whenever I was younger and Trump was president, I just felt like life was better. Everything was cheaper.
Okay, let me clarify this to you, man. Let me clarify this to you. I'm a lot more secure than the average 20-year-old. Okay, I am. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely had a little bit less financial security when I was like 10, because of a lot of family reasons. But yet I still had a higher quality of life when I was 10 than when I'm 20. I think that's just kind of what adulting's all about. So I don't think it's fair for you to say because you felt a higher level of happiness when you were in elementary school than you do as an adult in America, that therefore that's Trump's fault.
And I also feel that Kamala was DEI, and that
bro. Okay, just say you're racist. Just say that you don't like black people.
I'm not racist though.
Yes, you are, bro. Like, what the fuck do you mean Kamala Harris is DI? No, you looked at the color of her skin, and you looked at her gender, and you're like, well, she's a woman and she's black, therefore she has no clue what she's doing. What else could you possibly mean when you say Kamala Harris is DI? In fact, I'm gonna let you take the mic. I'm gonna let you explain it to us. What else could you possibly mean?
So I feel like she was only elected as a candidate just because she was African American and a woman.
Why do you think that?
Just because I don't feel like she did good whenever she was in California.
Okay, well, first of all, you probably don't know. Name one thing she did in California.
I forgot, to be honest.
Yeah, obviously. Witch King, thank you so much for the boxing gloves. I really appreciate you, Adam. So, in other words, you're just saying that you didn't think she did good because she's a Democrat. Okay, don't you say the same thing about Biden? Like, you say he was a terrible president. Yeah. Do you think Biden was DEI?
No, but I feel like he robbed the election.
Well, fuck, dude. Okay, oh my God, before we get onto that. So, why is she DEI? Because you can't say because you just don't like her. Okay, you also don't like Biden, but you don't think Biden's DEI. So, why is she DEI? Say it! It's because you're racist! Just say it's because she's black. Say it's because she's a woman. Just say it, dude. Have a fucking spine, okay? Okay, all right. Seemingly he's leaving. Thank you so much for the money again. I do appreciate it. Oh, he's back. So say it with your chest. Just say that you think that she was underqualified because she was a woman that's black.
No, I just feel like she was underqualified in general, not just because of her race.
Okay. Do you know a single one of her qualifications?
No, I forgot.
So then how could you possibly know that they aren't qualified enough?
Because when I was researching it, it made sense in my head, but that was like a couple months ago before the election and stuff.
Do you want to know something crazy? You want to know something crazy? She has more qualifications than Trump to be a public servant. You know, she served in all three branches of the government, judicial branch. Senator, attorney, AG, and DA. Okay? What about the executive branch, vice president? What about the legislative branch? She was a senator. Okay? And like typically, the reason why we care about the qualifications of people in the candidacy for the presidency is because the more qualified they are, the better fit they'll be able to serve good policy for the American people. Okay? So another way that we could examine her qualifications is by examining what she ran on, her policy, and to see if it's good. All right? If she has good policy, then she's probably qualified. And her policy was like so much better than Trump's. So rather we like examine on paper qualifications that she possessed or the outcomes of those on paper qualifications, which was the policy she ran on, she was objectively qualified. It's like, I don't know. I feel like the only reason you say this is because she's a woman, because she's like black. And I think it's very disheartening.
Well, you want to get into how Biden robbed the election?
No, I don't. But before you respond, I really want to thank Parker, not the Parker in the box, another Parker. Parker for the $25 over on Venmo. Parker says, love it when people are open to saying that they don't have all the answers. Humility is the enemy and solution to arrogance. Yeah, I quite like that out of the last guess as well. Parker also says, been using super chats till now. Hope you enjoy not getting taxed by YouTube. Yo, let's fucking go, Parker. Let's get 250. Parker W's down below in the chat for the $25 over on Venmo. Guess what? We're not going to pay taxes on that because I just scammed you, Parker. Quite frankly. Okay, Austin. So yeah. You wanna respond to the whole you're racist thing?
I'm not.
Okay.
That's all I got. That's it.
Okay. Well, then why do you disagree with my explanation on how Kamala Harris was very qualified? Let's hear it. I mean, you're just gonna go back to saying that she's a black woman, right?
Oh, he left.
I mean, dude, that's like just like the reduction of the claim. It is seriously the reduction of the claim. You know, it's just it takes like maybe most smallest, most minute amount of critical thought to come to the conclusion that's just obviously like racism and or sexism. Got it. Yeah, man, it's so gross. We're gonna move on to the next guest. If you're MAGA, let us know down below in that chat. We will pull you up. We're just looking for the next debate of the day. Next debate of the day, everybody. We got Tilly loading in. We got.
What's up, everyone joining in? Make sure to like the stream. Tap the screen. It helps get it out to more people. You already know the fucking deal. What's up, everyone? The stash is gone. I know. I got rid of it yesterday.
What's up, Tilly? You MAGA?
You know, I was still. I'm at the point where I'm like, should I still be or should I not be?
Okay, what's towing the line for you? Let us know. What's towing the line? Why are you still like, oh, I might like him?
You know, somebody asked me this at work the other day, and maybe you might have a better question because I'm still thinking about it. But they asked me what I think between first term Trump and first term or only term Biden.
Wait. I guess what I'm asking you is like, what makes you still kind of support Trump? Like what's left?
Hope of some of the things that he promised coming to fruition.
Tilly, I kicked you. I booted you off the live. And guess what, Tilly? That was a compliment. You've already done the work to deconstruct your beliefs. You just have to get past the emotional biases that you hold towards the comfortability of the fact that this is what you have believed for so long. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I just complimented the fuck out of you by kicking you because we have nothing to discuss. Okay? And saying that the only thing that keeps you supporting Trump is hope means all rational forms of belief reject him. Okay? Because hope's not rational. Hope is irrational. What's up, Gavin? Are you MAGA?
Yeah,
Okay, how old are you?
18.
18. What year were you born in?
What was that?
What year were you born in?
2006.
Okay, why do you support the worst president of your life, Gavin?
Um,
Oh, stop it. That's annoying. Sorry. Sorry.
You know what? You know what? Keep doing it. People in the chat are gonna love you, dude.
I'm on their ass. I'm on their ass today. Uh-oh. Let's try to get that next guest up in here. I guess Gavin's just he's taking off. See you later, buddy.
I gotta fucking turn on the thing.
I don't know. You got to turn on, but you turn that on. Hell yeah, buddy. Hey, by the way, if you're watching and you really like what you see, you're like, hey, this Dean guy's pretty great, and you feel the inclination to support what we got going on over here, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio, as well as in the pinned message over on the YouTube stream. And I really appreciate you guys so much for the love. And make sure to drop a follow as well. What is that? Pretty educated? Are you MAGA?
I'm not MAGA.
Based. Okay, that's what I have to say about you. You get 3 bastes for being so incredibly based. ILY. Moving on to the next guest. Let's see who's next. We got
Someone
Drew.
said I look 13. I went from going from 25 to 13. That's the goal. I'm wearing the shirt that I wore on my first Jubilee appearance.
Yo, we got a fetus in the live TikTok. Ban him. What's going on, Drew? Are you MAGA? You and your pink polo. Okay. I guess.
Ain't no way I just got picked by Dean, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Trump 2024. Get the hell out of here.
Oh, okay. All right, Jacob. Why?
Jacob, if you're gonna come up here and like yap, okay. at
Say
least, like,
that. Come on, we got to
defend yourself.
debate.
Like, it makes you look weak, bruh. It makes you look so fucking weak, Jacob. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's like possibly the most beta thing you could do. Like seriously, one of the most beta things that anybody could do is come up in here, state their beliefs, be like, "Oh, I hate you, Trump," and then just dip. That tells me all I need to know about you. You know what I mean? I think that Jack guy did the same thing earlier. And he said 2024, bud. Get with it. 2025.
It's an anxiety pen. I saw a few more clips of that.
Stop talking about my anxiety pin. Dude, that's like the best troll ever. What's going on, the Feral? What's your name? The Feral Housewife? What's going on? Are you MAGA? The Feral Housewife! Are you here? I guess not. Okay, if you're not like a bot, okay, if you're not like an actual NPC, let me know in that chat. We'll pull you up. Nicholas, thank you for the $10 over on PayPal. You shout out Nicholas, 100 Nicholas W's. Oh, wait, whoa. Lady Jane, do you support Trump? Goodbye, Lady Jane. See, like, look at all these bots, dude.
We were in a tornado.
Yeah, like, why? Okay, do you have the ability to help add people up?
On this account, I do not.
Let me give it to you as soon as we get somebody else up. I'm real MAGA. Like, okay, we just got all these bots. This person says they're real MAGA. Yo, you MAGA?
Yeah, I'm MAGA.
What?
Hello? I'm MAGA.
You're MAGA.
Okay.
How old are you?
Did you vote
Yeah.
for Donald Trump?
Yeah, but I voted for Donald Trump.
How old are you?
I'm 47.
What time is it?
It's 6:26.
Okay.
Wait.
You said you're 47?
47? I don't
Oh,
know
wait.
if I believe that.
What year were you
What's your
born in?
birth year?
I don't want to say that,
Okay, get out of here.
What?
but I voted for Trump.
Get out of
I
here.
honestly don't believe that you're 47. That's diabolical.
Yeah, he's not.
Like-
He's not.
Like, am I that bad at telling how old someone is by their voice? There's no way I'm that bad.
Dude, why are we only getting bots? Hey, if you're like, isn't it kind of crazy that there's 6.5 thousand humans in here? There's not like one that wants to actually debate. There's not like one human in here that's like, oh wait, Jacob is back. Okay, let me deal with the beta real quick. Okay, I could get him to stay on. Hey Jacob, I wanted to let you know. once
I'm
again,
back.
That was incredibly.
I'm back.
It was incredibly beta of you to come up here and say "F you guys, Trump 2024," then run.
Whoa. Okay. So I think you actually had
What a
somebody
beta.
else in here at the same time as me because I did not say "F you guys." I said, "Wow, I actually got picked," and I wasn't expecting it.
And then you said
And
Trump, and then you
then
left.
I only got back up here because you said I hate you. I don't hate anybody. There's no reason to hate people over politics. That is all I had
So
to say.
Jacob, can you and your EcoBoost defend the view that Trump's a good president, or are you?
That's a
gonna leave the line
5-0.
It's
It
an
says
EcoBoost.
GT on the back.
No, sorry, that was an aftermarket tag that you got from Temu. It's an EcoBoost.
I will go start it right now on your live.
You cut the muffler off, but it's an EcoBoost.
I will go start it on your live.
No, you
right
won't. Actually, you won't do that.
Now. I will do that right now.
Oh,
right
okay,
now.
yeah,
You're
go
crazy.
start.
What
Go start your
I don't
EcoBoost.
what is going on right now? Can
Well,
You're
someone
crazy.
translate?
Don't talk
Wait,
about my
why are you calling me crazy when you're the one that drives an EcoBoost?
Dog, I don't drive an EcoBoost.
I know, because it barely drives at all. It's like fucking 60 seconds to get from 0 to 10, right? At that
You're
point,
crazy.
at that
Let me
point, it's
turn-
like you're
let me turn
pedaling a
my
bike.
camera
Yeah,
on.
I wouldn't even classify it as driving at that point. You're pedaling a bike, sir.
What is going on?
Let me turn my camera on. Jesus.
Yeah,
I actually don't know what's being said.
Well,
Like,
I mean, it's
actually,
just
like-
him and his EcoBoost.
I'm sure.
My name's
I'm
Jacob,
sure.
and I pretend like my
What does that
EcoBoost is
say?
a 5.
What does that say?
Oh.
What does that say? What does that say, dude?
Yeah, that says
What does
5-0.
that
I
say?
could get the
What
same
does that
fake
say?
tag from Timo too. Okay, you just hate
What
it
does
so
say?
much that you did
Dude,
an
you just said
aftermarket
I drove an
conversion kit.
EcoBoost.
You do.
You just said I
This
drove
is an
an EcoBoost,
aftermarket
dude.
conversion kit, buddy. You got it off of Temu for $5.
Did I buy an aftermarket motor too?
That's not
Did I
even a
buy an aftermarket
motor.
motor too?
You just got the motor
That's a
cover.
5-0.
No, you just got the motor
That's a
cover.
5-0.
Where does it say
Gap.
5-0?
Gap.
Where does it say
Gap.
5-0? Where does it say
By the way,
5-0?
by the way, for
Yeah.
TikTok, he's showing us the car right now.
It doesn't say 5-0 anywhere
left.
on there. Yeah.
doesn't.
I love it. I do that to this other guy as well. Okay, so
I remember. I thought it was the same person.
no,
for a
it wasn't.
second.
It wasn't. For 5-0 drivers, okay, their biggest gripe, the thing that grinds their gear the biggest, is being mistaken for driving an EcoBoost. Oh, and I sorry. He was rage baiting us.
Why-
with this-
why?
Because it's like the EcoBoost Mustang is like in all reality like a pretty fucking slow car. Like it's not even like classified as like a sports car. I mean like a fucking family sedan, as long as it was made in like the last couple years, it could like beat it in a race. You know what I mean? Like EcoBoosts aren't all that, but when you buy like a 5.0, like you want to be driving something that's all that. You know what I mean? So you're buying it because it's fast. You're buying it because it's sporty. You're buying it because it has aura, right? But like the EcoBoost does not have aura, so you know it's like disrespecting like their core being, and they get really upset. And
That's
for all,
rough.
and for all the EcoBoost drivers out there, just know that you actually do still drive a pretty sick car. Okay, they still look cool. I didn't mean to be divisive, everyone. What's going on, Ace? Are you MAGA?
I am Maga.
Okay.
I am 23.
Everyone tap the screens. Get to 1 million likes on TikTok. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like the stream as well, everyone. Ace, why'd you vote for Donald Trump?
I'm Maga, but I do have a couple questions though, because I'm more of in the middle, deciding between to be neutral or just to not vote at all.
For sure. What's your questions?
So I've seen a lot of people on TikTok. There was this one guy, I don't remember his name in particular. He was saying how the new tax drop that Trump posted off had no tax on overtime or the things that.
Oh, yeah, someone's mic is a little bit louder than yours.
You're muffling your mic, by the way, Ace.
I do apologize. That is my phone. It's from 2016.
Okay, so Ace, why do you support Trump? And Ace
They left.
Unfortunate.
Okay,
Um,
I can't. Man.
Sweet honey,
What?
feel free to unmute that mic. I just sent you an invite. If you're watching and you're MAGA, please let us know, bro. We've been looking for Trump supporters literally all day. It's been so hard to find them. They're scared. They're
Oh
running. They can't
shit! My
debate.
bad. My bad. Sorry.
No worries.
I didn't
no
mean to get
worries.
on here.
Okay, all right, we're gonna do something new. Okay, if you are one of the 6.6 thousand people in the stream, and you are like, hey, I'm from America, I'm over the age of 18, and I like the president, I want you to literally spam MAGA in the chat, okay? And only spam MAGA if you actually support the president, okay? We do not want the phonies. We don't want the fakes. We don't want the trolls. We don't want the libs. We just want the Trump supporters. Nick, what's up? How old are you? Okay, then Nico, I really love your spirit over there in the YouTube stream. Go spam that in the TikTok stream. No worries, though, man. See, that guy was just spamming MAGA, and it's like he just denied it. He said no. He said, oh, somebody in the chat says, bro's obsessed with Trump. Come up here, buddy. Accept the invitation. You won't. You're so scared. You're so scared. Why are they all so scared?
Did you just randomly get this account back? Or are you risking it?
I'm risking it.
Risking it. He's risking it, chat.
What's going on, Celius?
Step one, does it work?
It works, man. Are you MAGA?
Absolutely.
Oh,
okay.
no.
Thank God. Okay. So I have been literally waiting so long. Okay. So I literally have a list in front of me. So I will admit, before we get into this, you have shaken me a little bit. And that's, I can't lie. Okay. So first thing that I wanted to discuss, Saudi Arabian $142 billion bill, right?
Mm-hmm.
How is this a bad thing or bad for oil prices? And I'm certain that your first argument is going to be basically like, you know, there's better ways to do this than tariffs. But
so the $142 billion that you're referencing was an investment into American manufacturing of like military goods, right?
sure.
Okay. So like that in a vacuum, I don't think is necessarily bad. I think what he had to do in order to get it was bad, like lifting sanctions on Syria. Parker could kind of get into that insofar as why that's wrong. But I'd also like to point out that Donald Trump is only highlighting this win because he has caused a lot of losses when it refers to investment into American manufacturing. The losses that he's caused have been quite drastic. Like for instance, right here in front of you, I have a graph of investment into American manufacturing's per financial quarter in billions of dollars. And what you
Move
see,
it to the left. There you go.
yeah, and like you can't see the years, so I could give you like the name of the graph, so you could see like the X and Y axis, not just trust like this line. But basically, where it goes stagnant is at the start of Trump's administration, and then that big boom is the entirety of the Biden-Harris term. So he's actually really hurt investment into American manufacturing. So of course he's going to highlight the small amount of wins that he gets.
Understandable. Counterpoint. Is the Biden-Harris administration the crazy up boost we have, not just, say, post-COVID? Like, wouldn't we expect that?
Pre-COVID under Trump, we actually didn't have that much investment either. It was stagnant under his first term as well.
Did we crash during COVID, and then this is a rebound, though?
Well, I mean, rebound would be to like go back to what it was prior, okay? But what it was prior was like the same stagnation that we see now. And it didn't just go stagnant. Like we had a lot of growth. Like I'll just show you. Let me get it opened up because I happen to have like all of these screenshots locked in and ready to go because of a conversation I had with a really annoying man yesterday.
I'm not gonna lie, you have a lot of the same conversations with people, and it kind of pisses me off.
Yeah. So look at this.
Well,
so you'll see.
That's just the reality of the world.
So
some people haven't had those conversations yet.
So you'll see here from 2017 to like 2020, like it was like relatively stagnant. Maybe it took a little bit of a downturn because of COVID, but then look at that, man. I mean, the biggest boom we've seen in a while. Okay.
Do you know what caused that? Like, can you point to policies or things that would have actually, like, that's one of the things that you're going to point out for a lot of Trump supporters is, okay, what policy did that? Can you?
Great question, of course. Things such as the infrastructure bill. There's $1 trillion investment into American manufacturing to renew American infrastructure. Things like the Chips and Science Act. That was a multiple billion-dollar bill to bump our chip production from sub 1% of global production to around 20% of all global production. They subsidized a lot of American manufacturing and then also promoted and cultivated an economic environment where it yielded really good ROIs because of how well the economy was performing, and that onset a slaughter. Sorry, I guess slaughter wouldn't be a good word. Onset a lot of investment into American manufacturing, and then Trump killed it.
Sure. Okay. I don't have anywhere else good to go with that one, man. Like I said, I want to think through this critically, and I mean this as a compliment. You make it fucking difficult to be a Trump supporter and trying to tear through this, and you are.
Bro, you're gonna be lived out. You're gonna be lived out. You're gonna be. Oh my God! Yes. You're a logical, critical thinker. You're gonna be so lived out. You're gonna be so lived out. Oh my God!
Okay.
What's holding you back? Like, is there anything in specific?
So, in all reality, I think what's holding me back the most is, again, every time I talk, I realize what I'm saying out loud. So I grew up in central Midwest Illinois, and if that doesn't explain it out the gate, I grew up conservative Christian.
I grew up in conservative Christian Iowa.
Okay, so I'm so sorry. Iowa might be worse, but
I was like, it's pretty similar to rural Illinois.
yeah, I imagine. And so I think that part of it for me is trying to deconstruct how I grew up, and I think that that's one of the things that I appreciate about you guys is you guys are consistently sort of bringing in evidence, and so that's why I wanted to bring you this list. So if I may, I will drop that one. You probably want me to say I conceded, and I don't know how to
move on. You're good. Let's move on to the next point. Don't even worry. See, I am so charitable and good faith when my guests are too. Don't even worry about it. Move on to the next point. And before you do, I just need to thank a couple people. Low Life, thank you for the $2 over on YouTube's Super Chat. Maxwell, thank you for the $2. X, thank you for the $10, saying that I missed your last dono. I'm sorry. I'll try to get back to it. As well as Rustlin, thank you for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat. And I'm scrolling up and I'm looking for you. X, oh my God, with the $50 over on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you for letting me know that I missed that. Thank you so much. This relates to a conversation that I had earlier. X says, thank you for standing up for trans individuals. College does not understand that most of the 40% of suicide attempts are pre-transition. The treatment for gender dysphoria is transitioning. I hope you debate about trans and LGBTQ plus topics more often. Yeah, I kind of tiptoe around them or through them because of TikTok terms of service, but I really do love advocating for like what I believe in, especially as it relates to the LGBTQ plus community. But y'all, please, I want to get 600 XWs down below in that fucking chat, literally right now. Thank you so much for the love, and once again, I'm so sorry that I missed that donation. But Mr. Guest, feel free to take it away. What's your next point?
Actually, Dean, can I thank two people?
Of course.
Can we get some W's for Sid in the comment section right now? Thank you so much for oh my god, my dad was writing down things he would say if he debated you guys today. We're making progress? ? Yo, let's go. I hopefully one day here we'll be able to do that. I would love to be able to debate your dad. So that would be fucking amazing. That'd be fucking amazing. W's for Sid in the comment section right now. And holy shit, Adam with $200 fucking on PayPal. Can we get some W's for Adam in the comment section right now? Holy shit. Thank you so much. Half for being you and half for Marge's graduation gift. Can we get some fucking W's in the comment section for Adam for the $200 on PayPal? That is fucking crazy. W's for Adam in the comment section right now. Thank you so much, Adam. I really appreciate W's in the chat for Adam. That is fucking nuts. Thank you so much, Adam.
You good?
Yes, take it away, man. We apologize.
Okay.
We apologize.
So next up, Executive Order 14297. And this is the most favorable nation prescription mandate thing. Okay. So I'm going to be totally upfront. I do not understand what this actually mandates. It sounds like he's just saying your drug prices need to match other nations.
Spot fucking on. Okay, I actually kind of like you. Yes, the executive order relating to capping the price of pharmaceutical drugs was essentially him saying, please make your drugs less expensive. Please reduce
is there
the
not
price
something
of them.
tied to that? There has to be something tied to it, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't identified an enforcement mechanism. Have you, Dean?
And like the most charitable
I
thing I could say.
I can't even dodge this joke. He has concepts of an executive order.
Yeah, the most charitable thing.
Concepts of an enforcement. Yeah, because it's essentially like if you just say please, like no one's gonna do it. Like I'm sorry, no one's gonna do it because they're gonna lose money.
By the way, I just want to let you know he did the same thing in his first administration with a $30 cap on the price of insulin. He basically put out another mandatorium, another EO, saying like just please do it. Please reduce the price of your insulin to $30 per vial per month. And it wasn't enforceable, and it didn't lead to that actually occurring. And that's why when Biden got into office with the IRA, they passed an enforceable mandated $30 cap on the price of insulin per month per American. And that's really important. Like we have to be able to enforce economic regulations on these companies or else it's really not going to do anything. And it's just a simple virtue signal. It's a talking point. Like that's all that this EO was a talking point.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna keep moving because again, I don't fucking have backup past that. I'm trying to. Okay. I'm gonna do one more current question, and then I'm actually going to bounce back to first term because I have one other at least thing I want to touch on.
Do it.
Okay. So currently, you have stated that you support mass amnesty.
Mm-hmm.
I believe. Yes. Okay. And obviously, your primary reason for backing that up is that anyone who is in, what do we use, undocumented migrant, who is in here is obviously less likely to do crime. And based on their taxes paid in on record versus benefits received on record, if you discount their school children, which I believe would be citizens, if I'm thinking of all this right, if you count their children and schooling, the benefits they receive outweighs the tax they paid.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
However, if you do not take into account their children and their schooling, then I believe that the paid in exceeds the payout from the government. Am I correct on all that so far?
You are literally spot on.
Okay.
Everything that you just said was true. So 2 issues as it relates to their children. For the most part, we shouldn't include their children because their children were born in America, making them citizens. In order for you to demonstrate that undocumented migrants are a net pull and drain on American resources, is, to include citizens as undocumented migrants. We shouldn't do that. And then even if you want to make an argument that maybe some of those children are not, naturalized citizens that were born here, and they are undocumented migrants, well, we should still offer them mass amnesty because then they'll just grow up to be American taxpayers.
So I want to agree with you, and you might be correct, but and maybe this is where it breaks down again. It feels weird to have it be, because again, hypothetically, this is an accurate statement right now. If someone came into our country, completely undocumented, had 17 kids, all of them would be citizens out the gate because they were born here. Does that, I don't know, maybe it is just feeling or some weird feeling of unfairness. I don't have anything to back up why that doesn't feel right, because you're correct on the converse of that, which is essentially that
the unfairness is that, well, there's a lot of people that are like waiting in line through the legal means of immigration that haven't been able to come into America, work, and have children like they have. And yeah, sure, that's a slap in the face to the legal migrants. But I think this is the point that gets confused a lot. Like the slap in the face to the legal migrants that are waiting in this line for the legal means of entry, that's coming from our own government, okay? The reason I say that's coming from our own government is because it is our own government and their lack of action to fix the legal means of entry into America that has caused undocumented entry.
So has Biden or Harris done anything to support migration in? I think you've made points. I don't know what they are.
It's minimal. Okay. It's minimal, but the answer to your question is yes. They supported the bipartisan border bill that would have further funded would have further funded immigration courts, hired more judges to expedite the legal means of entry into the country slightly. Was it enough? Fuck no. Was it much? Not really. Was it something? Kinda. Was it more than Trump? Definitely.
And it was something in the long run because it was a bill through Congress. It was also them working with the other side, and Donald Trump was the one who called people in Congress to undermine that very bill.
Okay. So would that not be essentially virtue signaling then a little bit on the opposing side of that, where rather than...
They don't even talk about that, no, because this is more so like things that people a little bit further left than the Democrat Party talk about. The Democrat Party is just kind of complacent with a system that exists and slightly better than Trump. It's not virtue signaling because they don't really talk about it. Like, when did Biden and Harris talk about mass amnesty? When did Biden and Harris talk about fixing the issues that are Southern? Like, they didn't, okay? That's a problem with the Democratic Party. I would agree 110%. But that doesn't mean that the Democrat Party is still yet better than MAGA and better than Trump as it relates to that particular issue, okay? Like, although they barely talked about it and sought minimal resolution through policies such as the Biden bipartisan border bill, okay, well, it's Trump who proactively told Republicans to torpedo it. So he's fighting against the minimal progress that they wanted to make.
Okay. So then, like, taking this to an extreme, which is, again, something that you like to do, if we had perfect mass amnesty, let's say that, border control, like if you applied to be a citizen, you could be in the U.S. within a month, right? Like, absolute optimal system. Mm-hmm. Is there not a point, or maybe you'll just say that they would regulate it at this point and that's too far in the future, is there not a point at which those tables turn a little bit
and it's it's no longer a net positive?
Correct.
Yeah, at that point, then restrict the flow.
Okay. But
the issue is we're nowhere near that point, and right now they're restricting it on some other argument other than economics. They're trying to claim it's economics. It's oftentimes culture is what they claim. which we have very big issues with. Plus, like oftentimes people on the right just like are literally just like racist, and they want to keep the white population over a majority percentage, 50%.
I mean, that's been going on for a while, but yes, you're not wrong on that. So, okay, but here's what I'm thinking. Like, obviously, I think that I don't need to back this up. Everyone, by and large, that I am surrounded by is suffering from inflation and from wages that do not keep up with said inflation. And I think that it is a goal of everyone in America, or at least the bulk of us, hopefully, to try to figure out a way to make living more affordable. Because if you go back to, like, if you go to house prices or something during the Great Depression as a percentage of your income compared to now.
Housing.
Oh, sorry.
Housing.
Well, I'm saying, like, who had a policy for that? Did Donald Trump have a single housing affordability policy?
I don't think so, but
I can mention one Kamala Harris had. She had a $25,000 tax credit for first-time home buyers for new homes.
But would not adding more people into an already crashing home market be problematic? Because here's what I'm trying to
explain why not.
I feel like it is a weird contradiction that your position simultaneously holds that we should have mass amnesty, and at the same time, I believe you've also claimed that Biden and Harris did the most for border security over Trump.
I think that they're better for immigration than Trump.
Okay. So you're not holding that they actually have prevented undocumented migration more than Trump?
Dude, he dropped levels like 90% in like 3 months. Okay. Yeah. I just think the means in which he has used to achieve that are very immoral. Like a lot of individuals have just been scared away from undocumented entry because they're scared of their human rights being violated, such as it was for a group of Venezuelan immigrants in northern Texas, the Venezuelan immigrants that were deported to Venezuela without due process, or Abrigo Garcia, or just like his short-term solutions, which is nothing more than a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. By like deploying the National Guard to the border, you are preventing undocumented entry now, but you are not resolving the reason why so many individuals have sought undocumented entry in the first place. So I think it's kind of just a virtue signal to appeal to his base. But I won't contest that he's been able to drop the numbers. I just don't really see him, the methods that he's used to drop the numbers as effective in the long term or morally correct.
Gotcha.
And also about houses, two big issues we face is lack of supply due to high cost of production, and big corporations buying the single-family homes. Kamala Harris wanted to restrict big corporations from buying single-family properties, and then she wanted to increase the supply in the next 48 years by incentivizing more developers to go out there and develop by artificially increasing the demand by giving a $25,000 subsidy to first-time home buyers buying newly developed properties. And you said that the tariffs would help goods that are required for producing houses. Well, it actually hurts because it makes it more expensive.
Okay. I realize that I am pivoting like a mofo right now. I want to say I'm sorry, but I don't have I'm not going to sit here and go in circles with you. And you
want to make one more point, man?
I think so. Okay, so I am, like I said, conservative Christian, and so one of the things that I hold to the most is being pro-life.
Why are you conservative Christian? You're a logical thinker. You need to stop.
And because I'm so pro-life, I think that that's why I support the LGBT movement so much, is because I think that no one who's LGBT is having the same abortion rates as straight couples. And this is the point at which I admit that I am slightly a troll and slightly am just...
What the fuck?
I think he's
Listen,
trolling, yeah.
Dude,
listen.
you're trolling.
Listen, I am genuinely unable to convince the people around me of why I believe what I believe and why I'm a liberal and a straight up socialist by most standards. And I am trying really hard to figure out where their mind's at because it feels like they're completely up their ass. And so I'm trying to see it from their perspective. And I wanted to debate you to see if I can even get anywhere.
One thing I just want to say is that a lot of Trump supporters have completely different facts than we do. They might have shared values within plenty of respects. Some, by the way, not all. Plenty of others do not have shared values, and that's a big issue that we have to address. But plenty of them do have shared values, and they just have a completely different set of information. So, and then something I've been gravitating with myself. How do you get them to be able to actually take into account facts? I don't know.
You know what?
It's something I'm trying to figure out all the time.
You know, I gotta say to that last guest, F you, okay? Okay, I just had like hope. I just had hope for the future of this country for like the first time ever. Dude, I thought I finally found a Trump supporter that was stuck in their ways because of a lack of knowledge, education, and comfortability into belief. Maybe socialization too, but in all reality, they actually were a smart, logical thinker. Now I was just a troll, bro. Fuck that guy. Billy, thank you for the $23 over on YouTube Super Chat. I really appreciate you for that love. Let's get 300 Billy W's down below in that chat. I seriously really do appreciate that. Thank you so much, Billy. Then also Megan, thank you for the $1 and the 11 cents over at Venmo. Shout out Megan, thank you so much. And what is going on, new guest? Do you support Trump?
Hi, Dean. I don't necessarily support Trump, but I do. My parents voted for him, and I ended up voting for him this last round, which I've been.
So do you think he's a good president?
I don't. No, I don't. And
Base, sorry, I am going to kick you just because we wanted to talk to somebody that does think he's a good president. But you are based. That's so true. You're very based. Yo, that dude 27, hop up here, debate me. Moving on to the next guest, we want to find somebody that's not quite that based. She was too based for me. I couldn't withstand her aura, so I had to kick her. Okay, I couldn't manage her aura, so I had to boot her off. We're gonna move on to the next guest right now. Madison, thank you so much for the $10 over at PayPal. Shout out to Madison from Angela. Shout out to Angela. Huge shout out to Angela. And then also Silius with the $50 over on Venmo. Let's get 500 Silius W's. Silius says, thanks for the opportunity, man. No hate. You're a big reason why I'm not MAGA. It's not wasted. Oh, that was the last guy that was up here. Silius, thank you for the $50. On a real note, you're a smart dude. But yeah, no, still F you for making me think that humanity had hope. Partially playing with that, but thank you so much, Silius. Let's get 500 Silius W's down below in that chat. While we get the next guest up in the box, guys, where's that next guest, y'all? Huge shout out to Silius. Seriously, man, thank you for the kind message, as well as the $50 donation. Next guest is hopefully loading in. I don't know, maybe. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to find the next guest, bro.
There was a person in my YouTube comment section that said in the comment section, pretty pathetic you guys watch these two quote unquote sissy boys all day long and give them money. Dumbasses. And yeah, I asked him to join. I actually opened up my StreamYard guest request and told him to join. He still hasn't joined. How do you feel about that? Rick? Come on, join in, buddy.
Dude, where are the Trump supporters? 6.3 thousand people. Did you just all suddenly forget that some of y'all like the president? Yo, there's somebody... There's somebody who's
remember Deborah?
Do I remember Deborah?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I do. Wait. Am I frozen?
No, you're not.
Okay,
I mean, like, you don't remember Deborah?
No, I don't remember Deb. Who's Deb?
Oh, come on. She's a classic guest. Remember?
Maybe I'd talk to her and then remember, but like honestly, right now I don't think I do. Guys, we are still looking for a Trump supporter.
I know people in the Discord definitely remember Deborah.
Probably, you know, like I just talked to so many fucking people. It's like, you know, it gets to a point where it's like
she's not here. Everyone, I just saw someone's name Deborah. It just reminded me in my head.
Yo,
talking about guests.
What's going on, Tucker? Are you MAGA?
Yes.
Buddy, you're too young to be up here. Goodbye, Mr. Tucker. Okay, so like the MAGA children got a spine. Why don't the MAGA adults?
Funny.
Hi, are you MAGA?
I still use it.
Not here. Moving on to the next guest, everyone. Just trying to get that next guest up here. Wow.
Hello.
Hey, what's going on? Are you MAGA?
Yeah, I am.
How old are
I
you?
just have a question for both of you, though.
Okay, real quick, before you ask your question, I really got to thank, oh my God, Parker with the...
You're welcome.
$150 super chat over on YouTube. Holy fuck. Parker.
You're welcome, bro.
Not you, buddy. Another Parker.
Whoa, what are you talking
with
about?
With $150 super chat. Parker says, thank you for all that you do. It means a lot. To be able to look at somebody my age doing something good for all of the U.S. and not just rich men. P.S. Can you make a video explaining good policies, because that's what I have the most trouble with understanding and talking about. Thank you. Yeah, man, we are going to shift to a little bit of a different content style where I'm kind of including like explanatory content surrounding like policy and government. I think that's a great idea. And seriously, man, thank you so fucking much for the $150 super chat. That is so much money. I straight up, I will repeat this. I don't deserve that. You're doing that purely out of the kindness of your heart. So I really appreciate you for that. If we could all please show Parker some love. I want to see W fucking Parker's in the chat for at least the next 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Thank
let's
you
get
so
some
much.
W Parkers in the chat, everyone.
Yeah,
We fucking
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
W Parker in that chat. Let's go. W Parker in the chat. Okay.
Take it away, Hitchon.
LVZ, thank you for the $10. Thank you, LVZ.
Okay, so like my thing is I really support like the moral thing when it comes to Trump. I don't really know too much about politics, policies, this and that. I don't really care
What do you mean
because
moral thing?
like he had a policy that he was banning the surgery for minors. Like
I don't
like transgender surgery.
Okay, well, we can't talk about that because it's TikTok. They'll
Oh,
restrict
okay.
us.
Oh,
So that's why
okay.
you voted for Trump.
Yeah, but can you tell me like what's so bad about his policies? Cause I don't know. Like what is so bad about Trump that y'all hate him so much?
Can I take this real quick?
Like his policies, like political wise, not morals, I guess.
Okay,
Ugh.
so his policies politically wise, not his morals. How about his policies specifically as it relates to tariffs that will disproportionately raise taxes for people who are lower and middle income? Because it is the case that tariffs are regressive by nature, meaning they make people who are lower income pay more, right, as a percentage of their income, because they spend more of their money that they make on things that they need. So
Right,
think
but
about it.
aren't those tariffs? Sorry, aren't those tariffs to get like some of the industries back into America eventually?
The issue is it doesn't actually do that. Overall, it reduces the level of jobs in the economy because it reduces the size of the GDP, because it is the case that plenty of American businesses, whether it be manufacturing or other types of businesses, they rely on aspects of their production process that come from countries around the world, whether that be materials, aspects of that require labor from other countries, right? Those things, right, we use as a part of our production process here. And if it is more costly within the context of that production line, it's going to make the jobs less likely to be the case to be there in America, assembling them after they've already been assembled in other areas within certain manners. Does it make sense? Because not everything is produced here in the United States, even for companies that say made in America, because you're talking about the assembling of things that you have materials sourced from other countries around the world. You have labor sourced for getting that and harvesting those materials. You also have labor sourced for processing them, right? Like there's so many different aspects of the production line that would be negatively impacted by the tariff, where this can cause huge negative impacts with even the level of manufacturing jobs in the country.
Parker, by the way.
Yeah,
she's
but
a
also for
troll.
like for me,
Yeah. Somebody was asking me to
No.
come up here and troll on your first post, apparently.
me?
Yeah.
Oh no, that was like a few days ago. Look at the timestamp on it.
Well, I mean, that was like long
I'm
time.
genuinely asking, like but like also with the automotive industry, shouldn't we bring that back with tariffs? Because like for example, Detroit used to be thriving, the Motor City.
Okay, I'm so
like
sorry.
I'm
One second. Yo,
from-
C7, come back onto the live. I want to talk to you. Okay, come back. You better come back.
and
C7.
now it's like
How old are you?
me, I'm 19.
Okay, continue.
Yeah, but Detroit used to be like thriving, and then since we lost like a lot of the automotive industry here.
I don't think that tariffs are going to cause that to come back. I think the best way to be able to address increasing manufacturing jobs in the United States would be to address it through similar means as to how the Biden-Harris administration already did with the Infrastructure Bill, Chips and Science Act, right, and even the Inflation Reduction Act and the investment in domestic production of renewable energies. I think those are the ways that we can actually address increasing manufacturing in the United States without utilizing tariffs that could be harmful not only to our economy, but also our relations with our allies and countries around the world.
Oh, okay.
Then it also isn't his goal of his tariffs to achieve like better trade agreements and not to keep them there long term.
Yeah, a lot of Trump supporters
Sean?
claim that.
Oh, are you asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well then it's not going to incentivize any companies to move their production into America.
Okay.
Okay, was there anything
But
else you want to talk about before we move on to the next guest?
oh yeah, do y'all get bitches?
What the fuck?
Hey, what's going on, Lane? Do you support Trump?
Yes, I do.
How old are you?
18.
What year are you born in?
2006.
What month?
November.
Very fire. Why do you support Trump?
I like his economics.
Oh no. Oh, why?
I'm a big fan of capitalism.
Oh, well, like his economic policy is kind of antithetical to that of traditional capitalism because he loves restrictions on the free market, such as his tariffs.
Or his
Well,
border
didn't
policy.
his tariffs so far influence trade deals with different countries that benefited America so far? Like
What?
with Italy and
Name
China?
one of the trade deals.
Well, I'm talking about like let's look at Italy and China right now. With the economic back and forth right now, we've been able to secure trades with China that have benefited America, and same with Italy.
Like what trade specifically?
I couldn't answer that personally. I'm
Then,
just not.
then why are you attributing it to be good trade?
Because
I bet you would say NAFTA was a bad trade deal, right?
I wouldn't know.
You don't know that? That's what he argued like his whole first time in office, saying that we need the USMCA.
Also, why do you like capitalism? I just feel like if Jesus was alive today, he wouldn't like capitalism.
Oh no, I totally agree with you. The Bible promotes socialist standards, but
What the fuck? But you think that guy's like God, right? You think that guy's like always right? You think he can't be wrong?
Dude, he disagrees with God,
Trump?
bro.
No, I'm talking about Jesus. You're like, oh, I totally agree that Jesus would be a socialist, and the Bible promotes socialist values. Why the hell do you disagree with God?
Well, it's not really because I've made this point very clear when it comes to the Bible that yes, it promotes socialist values, but it also promotes capitalist because no matter what point you look at the Bible, there's always a teeter-totter.
Wait, can I ask you a question? Tell me where in the Bible it promotes capitalism.
I'm pretty I would have to look. Hold on, I have my Bible right here.
Go ahead. Give me a verse.
Or would you guys want to hear a verse out of the Book of Mormon?
Whoa, wait, you're LDS?
What? Are you
Yes,
Mormon?
I am.
No, wait. Do you be honest? Do you think you're gonna get like your
gosh.
own Earth to play God over in the future? Are you gonna
No, that's not what we believe.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Wait.
You think that if you're really, really, really good, you think that if you're really, really, really good, that maybe God will give you your own Earth to command and rule over? It's just a
I
possibility.
just don't know why. I just don't know why he
Mormon,
believes. Wait, hold up. I don't know why you believe Joseph Smith over like Prophet Muhammad. Can you tell me why you do that?
Oh, this is
because so if we look at the in the I forgot what they're called, but in the Book of Mormon there was like 126 inconsistencies and it's down to 30 currently, and the number is dropping as we speak. And I've never learned that we get our own planet. I think what you're talking about is the theory that we become like God.
But before you go into that, are you admitting that your belief has 30 inconsistencies and yet you still hold to the view?
Yeah, because because the only inconsistencies that are mostly found in the Book of Mormon currently are archaeologists or archaeology subjects.
Okay, well, I just want to let you know, it's no different than like me claiming it. It's no different than Prophet Muhammad. It's no different than any other claimed prophet throughout history, right? If you don't have like a justification for it, like an external justification.
So what does that entail?
Where is the Garden of Eden?
Okay.
Oh, yeah, good question. He thinks it's in the U.S.
I'm pretty sure it's in Missouri.
Yeah.
I lived close to the Garden of Eden, dude.
Yeah. Hey, also. Tell me about those seeing stones of yours. So just to make it clear, Joseph Smith, prophet of God, took a top hat and rocks, and out of the top hat and rocks, he read some golden plates that were halfway across the room, and you had a transcriber that was reading down what he was stating out loud from those golden plates halfway across the room.
But no one else can read the golden plates.
Actually, that's not true.
And then when the transcriber was like, "Oh, I want to test this guy. I want to see if he's real," he like got rid of what he had translated, then asked him to retranslate it. He retranslated something completely different.
Okay, so for the first part, there have been testaments of people seeing the plates. If you open the Book of Mormon, one of the first pages is the testimony of the 3 witnesses and the testimony of the 8 witnesses.
So they saw the plates?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
there was
for sure.
and it's also
Wait, did
you have to
anybody
look
see
at
him
the
get
fact-
the plates out of the ground?
No, they didn't.
Oh.
But I just want, but it's also some of the witnesses that signed that they saw the plates even later left the church, but they have never denied that they've saw those plates. They always admitted, even if they didn't align with the church after the fact. And then
Yeah, I bet
Wait,
some
seeing
crazy
plates-
con man got some plates, threw them across the
Yeah.
room, and then quote unquote translated them out of a rocket hat. You know?
well, he
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah. Like, what makes you think they came from God?
Because I prayed about it. If you pray
You
about
prayed
it,
about it. You know what? I
Yeah.
prayed about it, and actually, I believe something totally different.
Also, can I
What
just
makes your prayer correct and my prayer false?
I'd
well,
also-
I'm not. There's no way to say because for me, especially when I'm a newer convert, I would say that there's no when it comes to church apologetics, I can't predominantly say that my church is more true than any other church on the planet.
Okay, I'd also like to point out that like you're not Christian. Mormons are not Christian.
Well, it depends on the way you look at Christians. For me, I define a Christian as somebody who believes in Christ's divinity and his atonement for our sins.
That's not it. That's not it. That's not so that is a core Christian belief, but that's not the only core Christian belief. Okay?
Mhm.
Because you reject the Trinity, okay? In rejection of the Trinity, you thereby reject the Council of Nicaea in 326 AD. In rejecting the Council of Nicaea, you reject the divination of early church fathers. In rejecting the divination of early church fathers, you reject the infallibility of the scripture of the Christian Bible because it is those early church fathers in which organized the infallible scripture of the Christian Bible.
So in the Bible, if that was the case, then because you know how LDS believes, so we don't believe in the Trinity, yes, but the Trinity isn't mentioned or promoted in the Bible, and the fact is Jesus himself said not to take his words and interpret them on your own, and in that
Wait, I have a question. So the Bible was organized by early church fathers, the same early church fathers that held the Council of Nicaea and came to the divination of the truth of the Trinity. How do you know that the early church fathers only chose infallible texts to include in the canon of the Bible?
So with the Council of Nicaea, right, when they were creating the Trinity, they left it up to a vote, right? Not all of the churches agreed with the Trinity standard, but because majority did,
Just like all the churches didn't agree to the standard of what they chose to include in the canon of the Bible. Is the canon of the Bible, is the scripture of the Christian Bible infallible?
Can you rephrase that question?
Is the scripture in the Christian Bible necessarily true?
Well, in LDS we believe that the Bible is imperfect. We believe that man can't fully translate the word of God perfectly.
So then how do you know that the Book of Mormon is perfect?
We don't. Even in the Book of Mormon, it says, if there is any mistakes in this book, blame the person and do not blame God, for it is the person's fault that the imperfection happened. And that's why we have prophets today on earth that can help us guide the church on the right path.
Wait, but how do you know that the prophets are guiding you on the wrong path since you don't think that what they're saying is actually portrayed and conveyed by God?
Can you restate that, please?
Basically, you're just saying that a bunch of humans got together and said, I think this is true, but I don't really know.
With the Trinity, yeah, that's exactly how it happened.
No, that's also what you think for the scripture of the Bible and the Book of Mormon, because you think that the same church fathers that chose the Trinity was not inspired by the Holy Spirit, and neither were the church fathers that chose the canon of the Bible or Joseph Smith in his iteration of the Book of Mormon.
Well, in the Book of Mormon, we can look through the facts of the Bible and compare it to the Book of Mormon, and we follow a lot of the Bible teachings more than I would say a lot of other religions
So I just want to
do.
clarify that you don't think that the Bible's perfect. You
No,
don't
we
think that
think-
the Bible was divinely inspired.
We think that it's imperfect, yes.
So you don't think it was divinely inspired?
So what does that mean that
That it was inspired by God to be written.
Wait, if he thinks it's
It
imperfect,
was,
can I
but
ask?
again, even if
Wait,
it's inspired from
Parker,
God, it doesn't
Parker, ask one
mean
question, then I'm going to kick him. People are leaving.
Does he
it's not on
think? Do you think
topic,
the
and this guy's
moral law of
inconsistent.
the Bible is imperfect?
the morals of the Bible. What do you mean by that?
Do you think the moral law of the Bible is imperfect?
Like when they
As
say
in-
murder is wrong, it's possible that murder is actually not wrong.
Well, we believe in. Well, that's why we have prophets on earth. So,
But you
we
don't
know
think
that
the prophets are perfect either.
Yeah, because God chooses imperfect men.
So,
If you
so,
look
so
at-
answer his question: Are the moral commandments of the Bible perfect?
No, or the moral. Yes, sorry, yes.
Okay, so then the text of the scripture is infallible.
Yeah. If you want to, so there's somebody
Yeah.
in the guest request called Restored. You can let him up. He's more knowledgeable in this than I am.
No, once I'm done with you, I'm done with the LDS Church for the day. I've already had too much.
Okay. It's not, but the moral standpoints are. We know that the.
Do you have anything else that you want to ask him, Parker?
You can go on to the next person if you wanted to end it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I save myself for the pain nowadays. Let me tell you. Let me tell you a story, Parker. I've experienced so much pain via completely incoherent, inconsistent religious beliefs in debate. Now I choose peace. I save myself the pain. I point out the inconsistencies, and I move on before I let this circle continue. What is going on, Al? How old are you?
I'm 24.
Are you MAGA?
No, but I had a quick question. If you could ask someone that's MAGA, please.
For sure. Ask it while I'm getting the next MAGA guest up.
Can you just bring up how Trump brought El Chapo's family over here protected to them, please?
Can you repeat that?
Sorry, I'm sick. Can you
like he brought in family of the cartels.
Yes.
I was seeing that this morning. I forgot about that.
Yes,
Thank you so much for bringing that up.
And under protection, if you can, please. Thank you, Dean.
Yeah, dude, great idea. I'm happy I left you up. I'll happily ask a Trump supporter about that.
What happened? I didn't even see this.
He gave a protected status to the family of the cartels, of like the leader of the cartels. So there's family members of the leader of the cartels that he gave protected status and entry to.
So like to get away from the cartel, or
but does that not contradict what
so
he?
The cartel can get in to the United States.
El Chapo's family. Caleb.
Hey,
are you
know
same,
me?
Are you the same,
Yes.
Caleb?
Yes, military Caleb. Yes. So after we had our little debate where I got fried, I did some pondering, a little bit of research, and I'm kind of leaning out of it, actually, and I need you to kind of incite a little bit more knowledge into me.
Caleb, let's do it, man. Before we have a conversation, can I want to keep everybody up to date, including you, Parker, of who Caleb is. Caleb, do I have your consent to play a little bit of a quick clip of our last conversation? So
go for it.
Okay, so Parker, and everybody listening, this is Caleb. Let's see.
You're the one that hates on the president of the United States on a daily basis, so move the fuck out.
You're the one that hates on the Constitution.
Except I don't hate the Constitution.
Yeah, you do.
The original Constitution.
What does that mean?
The Constitution that was made to be unchanged.
The Constitution was not made to be unchanged.
Then it got amended. Yeah, we know.
Where that says. What's a constitutional amendment? Oh, hey, bud, do you like your right to own guns?
Oh, gladly.
Oh, do you know that was from a change to the Constitution?
Please show me that, actually. And then he showed me, yes, we get it. An amendment is a change. Yes, we know.
Welcome back.
I have a question, though. So you know how she talked about how he brought in, I guess, cartel members under like a protective order, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What flavor is your anxiety pen?
It's
Sorry.
fucking lavender and caramel.
Oh, love it. So 12 minutes ago, it was
I'm sorry, bro.
that Trump actually recently just designated cartels as terrorist organizations. So my question to you would be like, why did he do that? Why is he contradicting himself?
I don't know right now. I'll know tomorrow because I'll be able to do research tonight.
Well, I mean, I'll be in your live tomorrow. I've been in your live every day. So, another thing on the Abrigo Garcia's topic. So you know how we talked about it briefly, and he wasn't given due process, correct?
Right.
So I did further investigation on due process and everything, and so you know discovery process, right?
Like the discovery process inside of like a criminal or civil court, yeah.
Yeah. So like if denied due process, discovery process can be affected. My question is, did Abrigo Garcia get discovery process? I guess in trial.
No, because he didn't go to trial.
So he didn't go to trial at all?
No, like, and that's actually like pretty typical for deportations. They just get a hearing with a judge. They don't go to trial.
Well, I know that in court, hold on, let me pull up, because I have his case number. If you want, it's 24A949. That's his case number. And then another article. Do you trust BBC as a valid article?
Yeah, but I trust the Supreme Court more than BBC.
Well, of course, yeah. But I mean, it even shows here where I can click it. It did say that he admitted to the court that he came to America illegally in 2012.
Yeah, that he came in undocumented. Yeah, that's a fact.
So I guess my question to you would be, how do I word this without sounding ignorant?
There still needs to be a due process. That wasn't due process.
No,
If
of
that's
course,
what you're asking.
And after further observation, I can see that. But do you believe that he was profiled?
Do I believe that he was?
And the whole MS-13 ordeal on how
they
say he profiled him just because he had a fucking hat and they said that it was gang related. Do you believe that he was profiled?
Oh, if somebody says that because you wear like a Chicago Bulls hat that you're there
With
for
the
part of
fucking the money
MS-13?
rolls on his eyes and shit.
Yeah, no, of course it's profiling.
Okay, so
didn't Trump like engage in that same type of propaganda?
Yeah, like Trump literally said that you could tell who the good ones are and the bad ones are just by looking at them, relating to undocumented immigrants like Abrigo Garcia.
I didn't hear that, I guess.
Yeah, he said that in his Fox News interview with Hannity about a month back.
Okay, I'll have to look into that because I didn't know that. I've been in a few debates lately. I was actually on one where they blocked me because they didn't want me to come up because I had a lot of good focal points. So what is your opinion, I guess, on the whole ban on trans people in, I guess, say a trans woman
in the military?
No. Because that recently there was a whole injunction on that didn't even follow through.
I mean, do you agree with that ban?
Wait, but I know
in the military.
I know...
Okay, so me as being in the military, the only thing that it would cause really is just like issues. Say like somebody with Crohn's goes to the military, it would just mean more medical things. I mean, I have nothing against anybody in the LGBTQ party. I mean, that's their choice. That's what they decide. I mean, I have nothing against it. I'm not one of the MAGA people that sit there and hate on them.
Okay.
Do you think they should be allowed in the military?
I don't have anything against it, honestly. But as for sports, I feel it's unfair. It's unjust.
Okay. So you do believe that trans people should be allowed in the military. You think that it's wrong that people were banned or kicked out of the military?
Yeah, I do.
And then as it relates to sports, like once again, I don't know, like maybe TikTok TOS is becoming a little bit more lenient because I had a little bit of a discussion earlier with somebody about T-related issues, but like
I don't want to get you banned, so
yeah, like that topic always gets me banned. But yeah, I'll probably say for now, like better not to talk about it so we don't get banned. But maybe like TikTok
specifically because you wouldn't want to risk this account. I would try it on a separate account because I honestly did on my live the other day and I didn't get banned.
Okay. Well, again, if Dean's not comfortable talking or debating on it, then that's
because he's on an account right now that's one ban away from a perm.
Yeah, you tend to get banned fairly quickly, huh?
Yeah, that's why I'm really. Oh, my computer just died. Yo, for everybody in the YouTube chat, I won't be able to see the chat for around 30 seconds here while it boots back up. But yeah, I'll be back. Yeah, so probably not like that. But I mean, hopefully you have other reasons why you support him. Like, hopefully, like, I don't know, like Donald Trump has been accused of rape by more women than there is trans women in the NCAA. So I don't think it's like the biggest precedent.
Yeah, and honestly, as a victim, and we had this discussion whenever that ignoramus was actually debating you on SA when he was an SA victim. Trying to say that that it was just a liability, but I feel as though, I mean, liability wasn't enough.
Yeah, man, I remember you being pretty willing to accept the fact that he's a rapist. I mean, so how do you feel about the fact that the president you support has been adjudicated for rape? And I mean, hopefully, if you've made some concessions since our last conversation, proposes a pretty large threat to the Constitution.
Yeah, with the whole Constitution thing, so I read more into that, and obviously didn't go through, but he definitely did threaten the Constitution in a sense of the whole voting situation. A buddy of mine, he actually wanted to debate you, but he was at work. He's far more intellectual than I am. Kind of is also making me deter away from Trump, more or less, rather than my party. I had a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So how was your initial response to Trump's original campaign in 2016?
I was 12. I didn't. I think I liked him. When he won, I was like, yeah, Trump.
You were 12?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you were that
I
young.
might
I
have.
thought you were
Yeah, I might have been 11 or 12. Yeah.
Okay, well then that's not a valid argument, I guess, because I didn't know that you were that young. So I want to be a little bit more educated on, because as I said in my last live, they blocked. So I was told, and I quote, that Republicans are trying to take away health care to minorities. How is that?
Well, I mean, I just think that they want to defund things like Medicare and Medicaid, and just generally make social services harder to attain, as well as decrease like the purchasing power of low-income Americans. And I mean, that's going to disproportionately affect minority groups, as like, for instance, Black Americans have a lower income on average compared to white Americans because of systemic racism, slavery, and its aftermath. So I ultimately think that like minority communities will be disproportionately disparaged by his crude cuts of Medicare and Medicaid.
Okay, with the whole, I guess the backed voter ID thing, do you believe that that was intentional to go towards minorities, or do you think it was just kind of coincidental because majority of minorities didn't actually have access to like state IDs or things of that nature?
And once again, it just disproportionately disparages them. I don't think. I mean, I don't think that you should need an ID to go and vote. Just because, like, in order to be registered to vote, which is something you have to have in order to vote in the first place, you have to give them a social security number. So I think that you already kind of qualify for what needs to be qualified for. But yeah, man. I mean, Caleb, is there anything specific that you want to talk about before we move on to our next
Actually,
question?
what you said kind of, I didn't, not that it rubbed me the wrong way. I just don't necessarily agree. I feel like you should have multiple forms of identification to be able to vote, because you know the whole situation with the Haitians coming in, and then obviously not being citizens of the United States, and the entirety of them not having any identification. And I believe some of them tried to vote.
So actually, like Haitians in Springfield, Ohio, those were illegal refugees.
Refugee? Was it a refugee city or?
No,
that it's just that there was a lot of Haitian refugees
that went to that city because they asked them to go there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, people literally, like, people within that city asked people to come there. And then people showed up because they were asked to come, and they helped out the economy in that region.
Yeah. Was there anything else you want to go over, Caleb?
My whole thing with it, again, still on that topic, I just, I'm kind of not understanding the whole not needing an ID thing, because, I mean, you can have somebody that's undocumented that can somehow falsify and be able to vote, no?
No, you can't. Undocumented migrants don't have social security numbers.
Well, I'm going to do a little bit more research. I'll probably be back to further, I guess, my concession.
Yeah,
Appreciate you. Thank
for
you
sure.
very much.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're heading down the right path, man.
Can I thank 2 people or 3 people real quick, Tina?
Of course.
KOO, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $20. Thank you so much. They said tariffs hurt small businesses like mine. I own a crystal / rock shop, and I have no choice but to import most of my inventory from other countries, especially China. The tariffs will lead to a direct rise in my prices. That's a great example. And then Courtney with $100 on PayPal. Thank you so much. Welcome back, Parker. You were sorely missed during your break. I hope you are feeling better. Thank you so much, Courtney. Can we get some W's for Courtney in the comment section right now, as well as Nikia? Thank you so much. I appreciate the $5. But get some W's for Courtney in the comment section for the $100 on PayPal. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I have a couple super chats on YouTube that I'd like to thank, but my laptop died, and I'm still trying to access like the backend on the channel on my phone so I could see that, and I'm not figuring out how to do it. So for everyone on YouTube, if you send a super chat, just know that I love and appreciate you, and I'm trying to get literally anything pulled up here so I could read them off. But what is going on, Satine? Are you MAGA? Okay, they're not even here. Everybody just kind of give us a moment, y'all, while we get that next guest up in here. We are just looking for some Trump supporters. Nico, thank you so much for the $10 over on PayPal, saying I need to know how to request live access. It won't let me. It's possible that your account is private. Try that. Also, Daisy, thank you for the $20 over on PayPal, saying Radiohead shirt. Fuck yeah. You like my little Radiohead shirt? Yesterday I was wearing an Iron Maiden shirt. Thank you for the $20, Daisy. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. And then also here, while we're getting that next guest up, Echo, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. Holly with a 3. And Amelia, thank you for the $10 over on Venmo. Thank you so much, Amelia. If you're watching and you like to support me, because you like what you see, you could find my Venmo, my PayPal in the link tree in my bio. get 100% of the proceeds over on those platforms, as well as if you're over on the YouTube stream. I'd highly implore you to try Venmo and PayPal if you do intend to donate, just because like right now I don't have access to the backend on my account. Oh, looks like I could actually pull them up this way. Nike the Teach, thank you so much for the 100 Canadian dollars over on Super Chat. Let's get 1,000 Nike W's down below in the chat. Holy shit. Thank you so much, Nike. That is incredibly kind. Nike says, it's in Canadian dollars, but I hope it helps you. Can I just say that from my knowledge, inflation does not mean bad economics. In fact, inflation can be because the economy is rolling good, supply and demand, good economy, people buy more, price goes up. Yeah, inflation isn't necessarily bad. Deflation isn't necessarily good. And there's many examples
It's
of
within
that.
a target. It's
Yeah.
within a certain target. So inflation over the certain target set by the Fed, right, is likely going to be considered bad.
Alexi, what's up? Are you MAGA?
No, Dean, I'm not. I actually did want to give you some information though regarding T individuals in the military, because you were talking about that earlier.
Sure.
So as a trans person in the military actively, we are getting kicked out. I am actively currently going under the process to get separated. It's not just if you identify, you have to have started medications or have started the medical process for like surgeries or anything like that.
Well, hey, thanks for coming out, man. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry that you're going through this. I really am.
It's fine. I wanted to get out of here anyways.
It's unfair. It's unfair, Alexi. I hope that you have a great rest of your day. And I'm just sorry that that's happening to you.
Me too.
Yeah, no, it's not great, but you know, I'm rolling with it.
Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. I love your content though. I just wanted thank you. I just wanted to give you some information because you were talking about that.
I appreciate you for coming up. Have a good rest of your day, Alexi. Shout out Alexi. Shout out Alexi. I'm really sorry that they're going through that. I mean, oh my God. It upsets me. It really does. What's going on? Do you support Trump?
No.
Okay, then stop requesting and don't request again. Get out of the queue if you don't support Trump, y'all. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit short-tempered. It's just insanity. Moving on to the next guest here. Everyone just give us
Just
a minute.
looking for some debates, everyone. Please only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. Yo, Danny, did you vote for Donald Trump?
I did indeed. Well, I wasn't able to vote, but I did believe in a lot of the things that he was going to say. So if I didn't turn 18, I just recently turned 18. I wasn't allowed to vote in the election, but if I were to vote into the election, I would. I do. I support a lot of things he says.
Before we get into our debate, I'm so sorry for cutting you off. I just have two more people to thank. Billy, thank you so much for the $60 over on YouTube Super Chat. Billy says, these people agree Trump's a horrible person, but a good president. You're as guilty as those you endorse. You vote for Munster, you are a Munster. Yo, fucking eat, Billy. Everybody show Billy some love, not only for the great message, but also for the $60 over on YouTube. Huge shout out, Billy. Let's get 600 Billy W's, as well as Allison. Thank you for the $50 over on YouTube Super Chat. Allison says, I wish I was as well informed as you are when I was your age. Keep it up. Allison, that's so kind of you. Thank you for the kind message, as well as a $50 donation. Huge shout out to Billy and Allison, guys. Thank you so much for the love. Once again, please show all of our donors some love. It is so incredibly kind, guys. Thank you so much. As well as Ryan with the $6 and the 66 cents over on PayPal for shout out Iron Maiden. So real. Shout out Iron Maiden. Danny, take it away. Tell us why you're MAGA.
I believe in a lot of the things he says because, I think a lot of the ideas are good in concept. I believe the way he's executing these plans could be better. I don't believe his plans on immigration, I agree with to a certain extent. I don't think we should be illegally immigrating immigrants back into Mexico. I think we should have ways to allow them in America. Not all immigrants are murderers or rapists are rapists or people like that. They're people that are hard workers that are trying to make a living. I think that America was based off of immigrations. Like everyone that came to America was actually technically an immigrant. America was built on immigration. I think we should go through background checks, go through things like that to be able to make sure that those people are not criminals, are not
Parker, by the
people
way,
that are capable.
Parker, you want to debate this guy? I got to go use the restroom real quick.
Yeah, sure. So can I ask you a
Be right
question?
back, chat.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think undocumented immigrants are beneficial for the economy or bad for the economy?
I think they could be beneficial, but they also can be bad. It's just a mix because too many most of those immigrations will work jobs that other people will not. They'll actually also build businesses. They can help the economy, but they can also negatively impact the economy. It just depends.
Okay. So what is the reason why you would want to say deport people who are in the country, who are here, undocumented, who are not violent criminals? They have not committed any violent crimes, and they're not bad people.
I'm not saying we should immigrate those people. I'm saying we should immigrate the people that are bad. that
Okay,
are
so
committing
anyone who's committed a violent crime or a bad crime, they should be deported.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
I don't.
because
Neither Dean or I disagree with that, right? But we would say that they should be deported under the condition that like they're going to be put like in a prison in a different country.
yeah, that's what I would agree with. Yeah,
Of
that's
course,
what
of course.
yeah.
No one's going to dispute you on that. We're going to totally agree with you on that. And then I'm
Mm.
going to have one question for you. Would you vote for a candidate that released violent criminals into the country?
I would not. No, is that what Trump did?
No, Donald Trump pardoned people who pled guilty and admitted to violently assaulting police officers on January 6th, people who beat police officers.
Yeah, I think he did do that.
So then if you wouldn't vote for someone who released violent criminals in the country, you wouldn't have voted for Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
So do you regret your vote for Donald Trump?
I did believe so. I did believe that I should not have voted for him. It is sucky the things that he has done, and I think him putting the tariffs onto the country is not the best. I think having a 20% tariff is going to cause more problems with the United States of America.
Wait. I'm sorry. Hey, I'm on my phone right now. I'm just walking up the stairs, but I'm listening to this guy, Danny. You just said that you wish you wouldn't have voted for Trump. The first thing you said when you joined is that you didn't vote for Trump because you're underage, but if you could in retrospect, you would have.
Yeah, I would have in the fact that I like some of his ideas, but thinking back on it, it just depends. Like, what January 6th wasn't a good thing.
So you regret your support for Donald Trump?
To a certain extent, yes. I don't think the plans he has is good. I think in retrospect, some of the things he plans on doing could be beneficial, but the way he's taking those plans into action aren't good.
Okay. So wait, who do you think is better when it comes to like the effect in terms of policy? Do you think it's Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
Bro, dude, you got to be. There's something contradictory going on here. You said that like today, like if you could go back in time, you would have voted for Trump. That's the first thing you said when you joined.
I'm okay. I should have probably. I would have. Put myself. I'm contradiction. Yeah, you're not wrong. I would most likely have voted for not Kamala nor Trump. I would have probably voted for the Independent Party because I don't know. Just because I feel like that's something I would do. I would vote for somebody that would be better. I don't know. I'm trying. I'm nervous, bro.
No worries. And then for the YouTube chat, I wash my hands. And Oscar, thank you for the $10 over on YouTube chat. I really appreciate you so much for the love.
Did they ask you?
They always do.
That's hilarious. Why? Because the assumed likelihood is that you're not going to.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, Danny, if you regret your support, I guess we're gonna go to move on to the next guest. Appreciate you for your time, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Guys, we are looking for a Trump supporter. If that is you, let us know down below in that chat. We are trying to get the next guest up on the live right now. And I really want to eat some of these Cheez-Its, dude. I love Cheez-Its so much. That sweet, salty cheese. It's so good. It can't be topped.
Sweet,
salty cheese. Sweet, salty cheese. That's right. I love it. I
don't know if Cheez-Its would be necessarily sweet. Give it a second. Oh, Dean's get back. What? What the? Okay.
Moving on. Hello, Jonathan. Do you support Trump?
Hell yeah, brother.
How old are you?
Fucking 23.
Fucking why would you ever support the worst president of your life? Take it away, Jonathan. Tell us why.
Because fuck Kamala. She's a fucking pussy-ass liberal.
Kamala, and obviously don't use that word to refer to women in a negative context. Don't use that in a negative context. It's fucking weird. You're honestly a weirdo. Jonathan, I have a question.
What?
Can you name me 2 Donald Trump economic policies that he influenced to get passed?
You better ask him an easier question, Parker.
Okay.
Kamala's a fucking woman and can't run for shit.
I have a question, Jonathan.
Maybe she should just run the house.
Jonathan, I have a question. How many holes do women typically have below the waist?
Holes?
Yeah.
My fist going in their fucking face.
He doesn't know?
What, Jonathan? Jonathan Rhodes. You know, I just want to put this out there. I don't think you deserve anonymity. Where do you live? Like, if you're gonna have like that umph to say that you want to beat women, you know, go ahead and use that big old spine ears to tell us where you live.
Yeah, I'm actually a minor. Fuck.
Moving on to the next guest here, everyone. Let's go to get that next guest up in the box, guys. We got William loading into the live, y'all. William, what's up? Are you Maga?
Okay, all right. Let's go on to the next person. Everyone tap that screen, share the live as well. It'll help get it out to more people. If you're on YouTube, do make sure to like the stream. It'll help get it out to more people. I appreciate everyone joining in right now. I appreciate everyone joining in.
Bradley, thank you for the $5 over at Venmo. Please don't read. I will not read your message out loud. Hey, just saw you had a Palestinian flag in your name. Are you MAGA? They're not even here. Moving on to the next guest, y'all. The Trump supporters are very far and hard to find today. Very difficult to find the Trump supporters. I just want to be able
It's
to...
actually surprising how hard it is to find like Trump voters on your live, given that you have 6,000 people. Like that's actually kind of crazy. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like I feel like it was easier to get people in person sometimes. Alrighty, everyone. Keep tapping that screen. Keep sharing the live. Let's try to get to 1.5 million likes here on TikTok. If you're on YouTube, to make sure to like the stream, as always. Let's try to get to 1,000 likes, everyone. Alrighty.
What's going on, Parker?
Hey, Bushmaster. Are you MAGA?
Oh, Dean.
This guy's pretty crazy, man.
Okay.
Crazy? Define crazy, Parker.
Why doesn't Parker
don't even
like
get
you?
me started. I'm pretty
Hold
sure they've
on,
done some
man.
fuck shit. I just can't remember because it's like, you know, I talk to so many fucking people. I know that he's probably done some fuck shit.
Okay. Hey,
Done some
Bushmaster.
fuck shit.
Will you be
What's
able
some
to?
fuck shit?
Will you be able to control yourself in this conversation?
Well, I'm asking him a question. Are you going to define crazy? And then explain to me what fuck shit I've done.
Jade, thank you
I
so
ju-
much for
I-
the
I just
$20
told you I
over
don't
at Venmo.
remember.
I appreciate you for the love, Jade. That's incredibly kind of you. Let's get 200 JWs down below in the chat for the $20 over on Venmo.
You
Okay.
mean like the whole Camille Maroon stuff, or you done? You was a part of it?
What? I wasn't a part of anything.
You wasn't a part of that?
No. What?
I almost got scammed by Camille. It's funny. Because
Yeah?
I actually was involved with
Is that
Camille.
why you
I
ended
know
up
Camille.
homeless, Dean? I'm curious to know that.
That was
Jesus Christ,
That was
dude.
not why I ended up homeless.
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah, the reason why I ended up homeless is because my brother's probably a lot like you. That's why. Okay.
Your brother is like me.
Yeah, you guys would be good friends.
This guy lives in Iowa, man. He was
Who
like,
lives in Iowa?
yeah, you do.
No,
You're like
Parker. I was working in Iowa.
You were working in Iowa. That's what it was. I apologize. I was about to say, bro, you're making the state I grew up in look bad, man.
Just tell us why you support Trump.
No. Say what?
Tell us why you support Trump.
Because I'm not crazy.
Okay, expand.
I want him to expand on why he thinks I'm crazy. Or at least define it for me.
Okay, man, I'm not gonna lie. Unless you tell us why you support the president, I'm just gonna move on. You're kind of wasting our time right now.
Why do I support the president? For exactly what he's doing. What do you mean?
Okay, so like, give me a couple examples of good things he's done.
Mass deportation, shutting down the border, inflation rates at the lowest it's been since February of 2021. I mean, which ones do you want to go at?
Wait, are you saying this is actually something I looked up and actually it's true? It's 2.3%. I was reading the non-seasonally adjusted one. What you're referencing, that's because it is the case that GDP going down has reduced demand.
Well, there's actually a couple things. So the reason the inflation rate is lower is because the first quarter of 2025, American producers and I guess retailers that are reliant on imports fucking hogged their imports and ordered a lot before Liberation Day tariffs hit. That's why we had a 44% increase in tariffs. 44% increase in imports in the first financial quarter of this year. And then also what the consumers' reactions to the tariffs was to say, well, I'm going to spend less money. I'm not that confident in the market. So when the seller's reaction was, I'm going to get more goods, and then the consumer's reaction is, I'm going to spend less money on goods, well, then you have an increase in the supply with a reduction in demand. What is it going to do to inflation? It's going to send it down. But that is not healthy nor good inflation. In fact, that inflation was a indicator of a recession from J.P. Morgan.
And also, if it's like good, why hasn't the Fed like announced like continued interest rate decreases? Hello?
Oh, you was asking me a question?
Yeah, I was asking you a question. Why isn't the Fed announced continued interest rate decreases to a greater extent, given that inflation is
Well,
going
that's the whole reason for the tariffs. He's trying to get them to lower the interest rate so it's more livable. Or
that is quite literally the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
no, that's an actual fact,
listen,
buddy.
no, because it is the case that the tariffs are actually what's the reason why the Fed hasn't put up a thing to mitigate the interest rate, because they think that there's some inflationary pressure that could likely come.
I don't think so. I
That's
think the Fed just needs to lower the interest rates.
why.
That's what I
But
think.
wait, you can say you think that, but you're not a PhD economist. Okay. You laugh, but it's true. You don't
Yeah,
have a
fuck
PhD in
Americans,
econ.
right? Let's not lower the interest rates for them bastards. Fuck them Americans.
Wait, what you're not understanding is that we would be able to have had lower interest rates already if it was the case that Donald Trump wasn't in office, because we wouldn't have the threat of tariffs, which would likely cause the price to go up.
Well, I mean, even like the chairman of the Fed said that he was going to slow the rate at which he was dropping the interest rates because of Donald Trump's tariffs. Like,
yes.
So in other words, Donald Trump's economic policy has upward pressure on interest rates. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris's economic policy had downward pressure comparatively to Trump's. So
exactly.
Why do you support this guy's economic policy when it showed so dog shit for like all the reasons we just gave?
Well, I look at what happened with how these leftist pros said Trump was going to destroy the economy. And then I look at Trump telling y'all Biden was going to raise the interest rates, or excuse me, the inflation.
Mm-hmm. So you're just basing,
And
wait. So you're basing your views on the economy.
What Trump said actually happened.
So you're basing your views on the
I'm
economy
basing
off of
it
what
off
Trump says.
what
So Donald
people
Trump
are
said that
saying.
if Harris was elected, we wouldn't have a country right now.
No. I'm talking about when he was running in 2020. And CBS and all of them were saying, no, Trump would raise it. And or they said he was lying.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Just
We
could you
saw
like
that was a lie. And then he also said,
Bushmaster,
didn't he also
obviously you know how to mute, so you'll be able to unmute yourself. I think what I'm asking for is like critiques of our counter arguments against your positions. So you said that like he reduced inflation. I was able to explain how the methods in which inflation was reduced was actually very harmful to the American economy and was one of the indicators of the recession that JP Morgan had predicted. Then you also said he was good for interest rates. Me and like Parker have now proved that that's not true. And like the chairman of the Fed agrees with us, disagrees with you. So it's like the points that you're making about how you think he's good for the American economy have been rebutted. And I'd really appreciate it if you'd be able to like stay on track, not pivot, and actually respond to counter arguments, or just like at the bare minimum make another argument.
Thank you.
But like yapping about Biden in 2020 just isn't it anymore. It just doesn't hit the same as it did like I don't know 5 years ago.
How does it not?
Because what the fuck does it have to do with a conversation we're having of the efficacy of
Something
Donald Trump's economic
changed?
policy?
Did we move to another planet or something?
It has
or is it the same economy of the American economy?
It bears no
has
relevance.
no bearing on it.
It bears no relevance when we're having
really
a discussion
doesn't?
about the
Are you
efficacy
sure about
of Trump's
that?
policy. Yeah,
Are you sure about that?
I'm more than sure. I'm positive.
It doesn't sound like it because you're muting me.
I muted you because I wanted to explain
Because
to you
Trump
that I
said
don't
it would
appreciate
go. Trump said inflation would go up.
Hey,
It
sir,
went
are
up.
you drunk?
Trump said there would be a mass invasion. A drunk? Are you serious?
I'm dead fucking serious. Like I've asked you like very politely 3 times now.
Dean, do you think this is continuing to be a productive conversation?
I mean, you're the one that sent a galaxy to him, so I'd suggest that you think it is.
Not if I'm.
I genuinely, I get more frustrated, believe it or not, by uneducated conservatives than I do by uneducated liberals.
Why did you send him a galaxy?
In fact, I actually watched a video of you with this girl named Emily, and I don't think I have disliked another human being ever as much as her in my life. And that other girl that just says the N word all the time for clout, I'm just like, can you guys shut up? We're trying to explain how Republicans are not racist and how we don't agree with all these things. And then you just go on a podcast for clickbait to be edgy and say you agree with these things. And I'm like, you do not represent me. Seriously, shut up. It's so irritating.
Well, Joel, I know who you are. I
Hi,
know that
Parker.
knows who you are. Parker, have you ever talked to him about politics?
I think so.
Okay, has it been a while?
A really long time.
Okay, so do you want to tell us why you support the fascists?
Trump is not fascist.
He fulfills all 14 characteristics of fascism as defined in the literature. Arguably, that means he is.
Do you want to tell me why you support socialism?
I'm not a socialist.
Can you define socialism?
Yes.
Do
It's
it.
when the people control the means of production.
Like democracy in the workplace. Yeah, so I'm
Oh, you didn't hear me.
I'm dim
Well,
soc, so I actually don't necessarily support socialism.
Wait, didn't I just did I cut out when I
Touchdown.
said it or something?
Yeah, you did cut out. But social democracy, Dean, is a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit
I said
different
when
than
the
democratic
I said when the
socialism.
right, but I said that it's when the people control the means of production.
Yeah, I understand that's I get that. That's actually like a decent definition and typically it's defined as workers control the means of production, which is pretty similar to people controlling the means of production, which is totally fine. That's okay to accept. But
What
that's not what we hold to. We hold
right,
to
but
social democracy, meaning that we still believe in
it would
private
have to it would have to be people. It would have to be people because robots can be workers, but they can't control the means of production.
So like
like from an economic standpoint.
Yeah, like that's a historical definition of like the term socialism, which didn't have to include a response to like robots necessarily. Also, like that's I said it was a totally acceptable definition. I was just saying that like that under that definition, we wouldn't be considered socialists because it is the case that we don't believe in 100% people ownership of the means of production. We believe in some private ownership of the means of production, but certain things are publicly owned.
So, in response to your original question, you asked me why I'm socialist. The answer is I'm not socialist. So, please go back to the question I asked you. Why do you support a fascist?
I already said I'm not fascist.
Yeah, but Trump is, and you support him.
Okay, give me a simple definition of fascism.
Well, I mean, when I conceive of fascism, I typically just look at the 14 characteristics. So it's broken down to a couple tenets.
No. You need to go with the definition because we went with the definition of socialism. That's only fair.
Okay, well, I define it as the 14 tenets.
Well, how you define it is not relevant. How is it defined?
It's defined under a set of criteria of meeting these tenets or a certain portion of these tenets.
Yeah.
Would you like us to describe what the tenets are? Socialism isn't defined in the same type of way that fascism is defined. So that's why we give 14 points for fascism, but we wouldn't necessarily give 14 points for socialism because socialism isn't defined in the same capacity.
Right. So right here it says it's characterized by a dictatorial leader and centralized autocracy and forcible suppression of free speech. So Trump is not a dictator, as much as you want him, want to think he is. If he stays one day past the end of his current term, then I'll agree that it's fascism, that he's a dictator. But up until then, he's not a dictator. He was elected. He won the popular vote.
Wait. So then you admit that Donald Trump tried to be fascist under your definition because he tried to stay in the White House past the end of his first term.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did. He tried to install himself, then admitted to it in court. He put fake votes for himself in Congress with the use of fake certificates of ascertainment from fake ballot slates of electorates from 7 different key swing states that he lost, and he directed them to send votes saying that he won back to Congress. So under your own view, he tried to be a fascist.
I don't agree with that.
He admitted to it. You can't contest it. He admitted to it. That's a silly.
Okay, so let's say we'll give you the benefit of the doubt that he tried. Okay, even if he didn't succeed, he's not a fascist.
So he tried
because
and
there are
failed
other tenets that he does not.
So you tried it. So
I
he
don't
tried
agree.
and failed at being a fascist under your definition. That's under yours. That's not under mine. Under mine, he is.
No. That would be me giving you the benefit of the doubt, meaning in the event that what you were saying is true.
Okay.
Also,
did
I
Kamala
do
Harris
find it
try
very
and fail to be
interesting.
did Kamala Harris try and fail to be a fascist?
Okay, I will not deny that Trump is a nationalist, but I will also challenge you that there is a difference between nationalism and white nationalism, and you guys try to conflate the two, and it's not. Frankly, it's just not the truth.
Okay, can I just address the point that like the definition that you provided, right, isn't as clear, at least in communicating what fascism is, as the 14 points. We can go over what the 14 points are.
But you gave
and I
a
can
clear
describe
definition
to
of
you why.
socialism and said that you didn't agree with it.
No, I told you that the people owning the
So
means.
let me
Can I
be
finish, or is
more
that
clear.
not
I
allowed?
agree. Marxist. I believe you guys are Marxists.
Okay,
I'm
even
not a
further from the
Marxist
truth.
either.
What is
Why are you not a
Marxism?
Marxist?
How do you define Marxism?
Yeah, what?
It is one of Marxism. It's someone who adheres to the teachings of Karl Marx, and it's where we get socialism, and it's where we got more
Wait,
unalivings
wait,
than
hold up,
the
hold up,
Nazis.
hold up.
Socialism has unalived
I don't.
66 million just of Christians in
What is this guy saying,
the
bro? I'm sorry.
Bolshevik Revolution.
I'm sorry. We don't.
It's why socialism is more of a problematic ideology than even
everybody's like
Nazism.
cringe. Everyone is cringing at you at the moment. So we're not socialists.
I
we're
don't
not,
care.
We're not communists. We're not Marxists. We're we're dim soc. So technically we're capitalists.
Wait, can you say that out for me?
We're social.
Can you say that out for me?
Let me clarify. We're social democrats.
Democratic socialists.
Okay, can I mute him? Or I'm
So
confused.
you're not a socialist, but socialist is in the name. That's crazy.
Social democrat does not have socialist in the name.
Democratic socialist has socialist in the name.
I'm sorry. This is why Dean shouldn't be speaking, and Dean should be quiet because Dean uses the wrong terminology sometimes. That's actually what I tried to clarify him earlier. Democratic socialism and social democracy are a bit different, right? Oftentimes, democratic socialists will agree with social democracy in the short term, but want to transition to a system of socialism through democracy, right? That's what democratic socialism is. But you could also use democratic socialism in the same type of way that like Bernie Sanders or AOC are, which is just referring to social democracy. But go for it, Dean.
Do you think the Nazis were socialists?
What does Nazi stand for?
Fascism, death, control.
No, that's not what it stands for.
He means National Socialist German Workers' Party. But also that doesn't mean that he was socialist. Historically, he was very anti-Marxist and anti-socialist, and the position that he had was a form of state capitalism, right? But the issue that you're not addressing is that the form of fascism can incorporate economic systems such as socialism without being described by only socialism. It's socialism plus many different types of factors within some fascist understanding.
The definition
because fascism,
is a member of the.
Let me please finish. Fascism is.
Can I be allowed to read the definition, Parker?
I'm finishing my point.
A member of the far right National Socialist German Workers' Party.
Am I not allowed to fully clarify?
Like, also keep in mind,
it's in the name.
We're not. Oh, dude, you probably think
we're not
Democrat.
We're not Dean.
You probably think
we're
that
not you probably think robbers.
You probably think that Democrat means democracy and Republican means republic, right? Because it's
yeah. Okay, so like
wait. So what do you think we live in again, Dean?
We live in
a democratic republic.
We live in a constitutional republic.
That's the same thing as it's also a constitutional republic. Yes.
So it's a constitutional.
Parker, do you know the Pledge of Allegiance?
As defined by the Constitution. However,
what are the last words of the? What are the last words of the?
We just think that
the Pledge of Allegiance.
We think that a constitutional.
With liberty and justice for all.
We think that a constitutional.
Go a little bit further back.
Can I speak real quick? I want to clear the air in all of this.
I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Okay, draw.
Of the United States of America.
For which it stands. Okay, shut up. Okay, now I'm gonna speak. So
okay, no, but and to the democracy for which it stands. Oh wait, no, that's not it. And to the republic for which it stands.
Okay, thank you so much for your thoughts. Now I'm gonna speak, and you're hopefully gonna listen to me. Okay.
So you're disagreeing that we are in a republic?
So no. I actually, if you would let me speak, I could.
What is the difference between a direct democracy and a republic?
Who the fuck are you debating right now? Because it's obviously not me or Parker. Like Joe, I'm trying to like speak.
What is the difference between a direct democracy and a republic?
I will.
A direct democracy would be each.
Both of you guys. So it's both.
No. Parker knows.
Is this not my fucking live stream? Do I not have the right to speak on my own live at all?
Bro, you can do whatever you want. It's your live stream.
Thank you. So, anyways, okay, I want to clear the air on like a bunch of shit, so then we could talk about things that matters. So you're saying that us referring to America as a democracy is contradictory to your claim that America is a constitutional republic. So that's actually not true. Okay? So America is both a constitutional republic, right, and a representative democracy. Right? We just simply think that a constitutional republic
representative democracy is a republic.
Exactly, my point.
A representative democracy is a republic.
Just like a republic is a representative democracy. It's two words that refer to the same thing. You could refer to them.
We do not live in a direct democracy.
Yeah, I never claimed that.
We do not live in a direct democracy.
I claimed a representative democracy, Joel.
So do we live in a democracy or a republic?
You just said that my representative democracy is a republic, so it's both.
In this context,
No, we live in a
there's-
republic.
In this context, there's overlap between constitutional republic and representative democracy. In this sense, we're both a constitutional republic and a representative democracy.
And he proved it when he said that a representative democracy
Dean, have you
is
ever
a
voted?
republic.
No, I'm not proving it. Have
Yes,
you ever
did.
voted for a single law?
Wait. You literally fucking said that a republic
you
is
ever
a
voted for a
representative
single law?
democracy. I voted for lawmakers. That's
Which
what you
is
do.
why
That's what you do in a representative
No,
democracy.
that's what you do in a republic.
And you said that a republic
It's a republic.
is a representative democracy. Did you utter the sentence, a representative democracy is a republic? Was that a sentence that you uttered?
Let's look it up.
No, answer my question. Was that a
look
sentence
it
that
up.
you uttered? Joel, why are you running away? Why are you so afraid to answer my question? Did you utter the sentence?
I'm
that
not
a represent-
running.
Then
I'm
answer
not
the
running.
then
I'm
answer the
simply
question.
looking something
So
up
then answer
because
the
you don't-
question.
you don't-
So then answer the question, Joel. The question
Dean,
is,
you
did
have-
you utter the sentence that a representative democracy is a
You
republic?
have not acknowledged a loss.
You're
on a
not
single point so far.
answering my
You
question.
have not acknowledged.
Affirm or deny.
You
Did
have
you
not
utter the
agreed
sentence?
in my Oxford Languages Dictionary definition.
Did you utter the sentence that a representative democracy is a republic? You're so scared to answer my question, and I don't know why.
A representative democracy is a republic, but we are not a
There you go.
democracy because democracy means direct democracy.
No, it doesn't. No, is representative democracy a form of democracy?
Yes, it does.
Is representative democracy a form?
Okay, so are we a
Listen, please let me
are we a
finish.
socialist republic because we have social programs?
Is a representative democracy a form of democracy?
We have free school lunches. Does that mean we're a socialist republic?
Oh my
I'm
god,
just-
this
I'm
guy's so
just asking
insufferable.
you, is it a democracy?
Joel, you just can't deal with the fact that
And
we're
you think
fucking
because
smarter
there's
than you and
democratic in
proving
the
you
word,
wrong.
does that mean we have a democracy?
No,
Bro,
I'm just
you're not
asking
smarter
you.
than me.
I just asked you, Joel.
of
All I
course
asked
I am.
you, all I asked you is a representative democracy a form of democracy? I'm just asking you the question.
Dean, you know what? Dean, I don't think you understand.
Is he not going to answer my question?
You
I'm
didn't
Agree
answer
with
my
you
asking a
on
question.
very
absolutely
specific
everything,
question.
and that doesn't mean they're inferior to you in intelligence. Are you more articulate than me? Are you more knowledgeable than me? Have you lived longer than me?
Hello, is a representative democracy a form of democracy?
A representative democracy is a republic, and it is a form of democracy.
Okay, so if you agree that a representative democracy is a form of democracy, then we do believe that our current system is a democracy because it's a representative democracy.
But then we also agree that it's a republic because
Yes,
it's a
we do.
representative democracy.
We do.
It's exactly what we said earlier.
Yeah.
So
we
I
do.
don't think that. Yeah. So I don't. Yeah. I don't think this is a. I don't think this is a. Let's either one of us die on this hill. So I think we need to go to something that's more like definitively draw a line in the sand. Like Roe versus Wade being overturned was a great win for conservatives and Republicans.
Well, we think that was really bad because it led to women who have been assaulted having restricted access to abortion around the entire United States, plus many women in situations where we think they should be able to get abortions. We're not allowed to get abortions, whether it be because they were literally dying and under their particular abortion laws under their state, like they couldn't get access to an abortion because the particular provider didn't know whether or not they could provide it in that sense, or it is the case that they couldn't get access to an
Parker,
abortion
pause 1 second.
when the fetus
Are we
or
allowed
embryo
to
was
say that?
non-sentient. What's up?
You could say abortion.
Are we allowed to say that?
You could say abortion.
Why has everybody been lying to me this
I
entire
don't know.
time?
To be fair, I see that too in a lot of smaller lives. I see that
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. I'm just
on,
trying.
smaller
I'm just
debate
trying not
lives
to get.
that
Yeah, I don't want
that
you
can't
guys to
say
get in any
abortion.
trouble or anything. So.
That's just complete bullshit. You can. Basically, what Parker just said is it's bad because it entails a lot of human rights violations.
Right, but I said overturning Roe versus Wade was a great win for Republicans.
Okay, so if Republicans think that 66 million human rights violations is a win, okay, right? You're just crazy.
I'm asking
As
you.
opposed to 60. So wait. Do you not understand that we are diametrically opposed on almost everything? So if you think something's bad, for the most part, I'm probably gonna think it's not bad.
I know that makes you look insane.
Joel,
to
let's
say
have
that
this question then.
Human rights violations aren't bad.
No, but are you saying that it was not a great win for Republicans?
I'm asking why is it a good win for Republicans, essentially, when I say that all of these bad outcomes are a result of it.
Okay, it was a great win for Republicans because since Roe versus Wade was passed, Republicans have won elections on the singular issue of abortion. George Bush ran claiming he was going to pass the Born Alive Act.
I'm sorry,
He
Joel,
passed
that's
the
just not true.
Born Alive Act and won a. What do you mean it's not true?
When you say that Republicans as a whole have won on the idea of abortion alone is a ridiculous statement because they didn't run on abortion alone. Actually, they didn't even take into account oftentimes conversations about abortion because on a federal stage, especially in the context of the federal elections with presidents, it looks bad, right? So having that conversation is
Parker,
worse
can
for
you humor me
Republicans.
for a second? Can you humor me for a
Yeah.
second? What is the area of the country called in the South in its relation to a religious text?
The Bible Band, right?
The Bible
Bible
Belt.
Belt.
That was
Bible
close.
Belt. That was
Okay.
close.
Oh, this is a great example. Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk worked with a organization, Liberty University, to get Republican voters out to vote on one singular issue was his primary issue. That singular issue was life. There are entire organization. There's a March for Life. The evangelical vote goes almost entirely in the direction of who opposes abortion. If you say that it is not like one of the very biggest single issues that people vote on, I would have to just
I actually
patently
hold on.
disagree with
I'm
you
not. I'm
as
not
a
disputing
conservative
you.
Republican.
I'm not disputing you on that. I'm just saying that like you can't run on it from like the Trump perspective. Trump couldn't run on it in that type of way, but Charlie Kirk under a sub operation could get people who do have that position to go out and vote. That's separate
Right, and
from
let's
like
both
getting
be
people
honest
to go
about
out
Trump.
and vote
Trump is
by
not
saying that you have
conservative in
that
his
position.
personal life.
Can we just like talk about like what
Trump
matters
is not a
here?
conservative in his
Can
personal
we
life.
just like talk about what
Trump is a moderate in his personal life. Trump is not a conservative in his
I wanna
personal life.
talk-
He's conservative in policy, but
So
not
typically moderates are
person.
fascists. But anyways, so what matters here is you could say that the conservatives have won on abortion. I'm fine with that. Okay, but if anything, I think that this shows great reason why everybody should stray away from the conservative party, because the conservatives winning on abortion implies millions of human rights violations, right? And I think that's incredibly
You mean like the
immoral.
way that you guys violated millions of human rights when you unalived millions of babies?
So that's the thing. I don't think that fetuses have human rights.
Yeah, we're talking about non-sentient embryos because they're not sentient.
Well,
Okay,
I mean,
but are they human?
to be more specific, I want to be like incredibly specific with the reasoning here. I don't think that fetuses have the right to life because I cannot identify. I failed to identify a single characteristic and/or attribute of fetuses that is morally valuable.
Okay, so my wife is pregnant 21 weeks with my fetus, and I refer to it, and she refers to it every day as our baby. We've already given it a name. We've already picked out a room in the house. We already have a stroller. What are we expecting? When I tell someone my wife is expecting, what are we expecting?
A baby.
Okay, and when I say inside my wife right now, what do I tell people my wife has inside of her right now?
You say there's a baby in the tummy.
And so is the difference for you, the difference between a
He
fetus and a
doesn't
baby,
know what
whether or not
week he
somebody
said
wants
at.
it?
Okay, Joel, you accidentally said it at the wrong week. Okay, if you want to
21 weeks.
make
No, it is 21 weeks.
if you want to make this point, it's got to be earlier in the point of pregnancy.
Why?
Because at 21 weeks, you're gonna meet the point of sentience.
Why at 21 weeks?
20 through 24 weeks is the point of sentience, where sentience begins.
And what do you determine that based on?
Oh, so that's just going to be based upon a consensus amongst neurobiologists, and I mean, like this consensus has been overwhelming, and only like pushing the can later and later down the road. Insofar as
So you don't want abortions after 20 weeks?
Yeah, like elective abortions after around 20 weeks are immoral. I agree.
Yeah, the thing is that's not happening. No one's waiting to that point in time, then getting like a lethal abortion.
Yeah.
Right at that point, after the point, especially the point of viability, it would be just an induction of labor early. Right, if it is the case that would be like the point. Otherwise, it would be like medical necessity or some type of medical complication that would lead to like an abortion. If that would require it.
Wait, where did he get?
Joel, what do you think is
So then, if
it's
it's extremely rare to have post 20, wait, so what?
What do you think is morally valuable about the fetus before that point? Like, why should I care about a fetus before it has the ability?
Well,
to
for me, so I guess this is anecdotal, but for me, my baby was valuable because it was my baby from the moment of conception, from the moment I knew that she had a baby. That was valuable.
Hey, man, that's fair, but I guess I should be more clear here. That's external value. Okay, the same way I place value on my car. Okay, that's external value. That doesn't mean that my car has any type of
no other people place value on your car too. That's why you had to pay for it.
So my question here would be: is like, what type of like internal value did that fetus possess? Because like once again, if you're just going to say it's valuable because you find it to be valuable, all of a sudden you're justifying the pro-choice worldview. Because what about mothers that are pregnant that don't find their fetuses to be valuable and go and fucking abort it? All of a sudden, that is completely justified following your position.
Wait. So you're saying that if I didn't find it valuable, then it wouldn't be valuable?
I mean, that's seemingly what
So
you said in response to my
my
question.
actual view, my actual belief, where the value comes from is based in my religion, and that's that value comes from God, and that people are valuable from God intrinsically. So I guess
What are
that
you?
would be a Christian,
I know. Which domination?
evangelical.
So is that Orthodox, Catholic? Is it a Reformed movement?
No. Evangelicals would be considered like the most common thing that everybody knows is just like Southern Baptist.
Okay, so that you're part of Reformation. So you uphold sola scriptura?
He doesn't know what that is.
That just means that you think that the only thing that holds weight and authority in the religion is the scripture of the Bible. Like not like apostolic succession.
No,
or
I
like
think the only thing
magisterium
that
of the
holds
Catholic and
religion
Orthodox
in
Church.
that. Yeah, I'm not a Catholic. No, I don't. No, I think that all scripture comes from God, and that God gives the scripture authority.
Okay.
Dean, that's a bit further than.
I promise it's not. I swear to God, it's not. Like I've been having a lot of fun like critiquing like the.
Wait, why would you swear to God if you're not a Christian?
Well, it's a metaphor.
Gosh.
So I'm not.
Can I?
Sure, Parker. If you want to hop in here and run an argument, that's fine. But I like at one point or another would like to be able to finish out this position because
Just go ahead.
No, if you want to, no, seriously, man, take it
Why
away.
are you guys so mean to each other? You're best buds.
We're not being
I'm
mean.
the enemy, not you.
No one's being mean.
I don't think that we're being mean.
You guys are being mean to each other.
I don't think so.
No, you can go, Dean. Finish your point.
Yeah, for sure. So you think that the only thing that holds like authority and or power in the church is like the scripture of the Bible, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then, how do you know that that the Bible's infallible? Because keep in mind, it's the early church fathers that claimed that they had been intervened by the Holy Spirit when choosing the canon and or scripture of the Bible.
How do I know that it's infallible?
Yeah, how do you know how do you know it's infallible? Because it's humans that chose that canon, that chose the individual chapters, that chose the books, and organized them into the canon of the Bible. Okay, but what these early church fathers, what the early councils will say, insofar as how they knew that some books were inspired by God and others weren't, is by claiming divination, is by claiming that the Holy Spirit had given them the authority to choose the infallible scripture of the Bible, meaning that they were infallible as well. Okay, but when you hold to sola scriptura, when you like reject
No.
that's
Not. No, that is not what Christianity teaches. We do not teach that men were infallible.
So then, how do you know that they
that.
infallibly picked the correct and truly inspired canon?
Well, so we have tablets, dating us back as far as the Dead Sea Scrolls that they compared to recent texts and tested for accuracy. Also, the Ethiopian Bible. It's one of the oldest Bibles on the planet, coming out of Africa.
Maybe you don't get my question because like
most of the New Testament has been corroborated by.
I don't think that you understand my question because I'm asking you about like the books that they picked and put into the canon of the Bible in councils from like 100 AD to 400 AD. That's when they picked the books and they excluded some. Like they excluded a book of Judas. They excluded a book of Jesus. They excluded a book of Mary. That's either apocrypha or heresy. Right? They excluded all of these different books.
Yeah. So the apocrypha isn't included. Yeah,
that they weren't truly like divinely inspired. Okay, and the goal of these early church fathers, the goal
because
of these
they also contained error. Yeah, those books contained errors.
But who determined
that they were not a part of the internet?
But who determined what those quote unquote errors were? Who determined which text was and wasn't divinely inspired by the Holy Spirit?
Different church councils.
Was the early church fathers and councils, and those early church fathers and those councils claimed that the way they were able to determine which books were and were not inspired by the Holy Spirit was to claim that the Holy Spirit was inspiring them, that they had some normative authority.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
That's not true.
It is absolutely true.
The Bible teaches that men spoke as they were carried along by the Holy Spirit to write the Bible, not to choose which books go in the Bible.
They did. They chose the books. They literally, that's an historical fact. There's councils from 120 AD to 400 AD where they chose the goddamn books. They excluded a bunch. They included a few. They chose the books that make the Bible. That is a fact.
Do you know what that term you just used was?
Which one? I used a lot of words there. because I was speaking in full sentences.
When you say, okay, the Bible says that men spoke as they were carried along by the Holy Spirit, and it's referring to how the books of the Bible that were written down in the 66 books of the Bible, you're confusing. So there's what, three major Abrahamic religions, depending on if you decide that
I
Catholics
just
and
don't even
Christians are
think that you
different
know what
religions
I'm
or
saying.
not.
What is my point?
So do you believe Jesus existed? Let me ask you that.
Yeah, I do, but I want you to reiterate what my point to you was.
In what year?
Born year 0, died year 32 or 33. But it doesn't matter because I want you to be able to reiterate the point that I just told you.
Okay, good. Because within 100 years of that, they had already accumulated and put together the first Bible.
So you're actually talking about a council that was held, I forget the name of the council, in 133
Council
AD.
of Nicaea.
No, the Council of Nicaea
Council of Nicaea.
The Council of Nicaea was year 323 AD. You idiot. Sorry for calling you an idiot. That was rough, but you're wrong. The Council of Nicaea was held 323 AD. And then the Nicene Constantinopolitan Council was held 384 AD. Sorry for calling you an idiot. That's too far. I should.
Wait, what year did you say the Council of Nicaea was?
323.
Incorrect.
What is it? 324?
Now who's an idiot?
Was it 324?
325.
Fuck, I was 2 years off.
You have to be perfectly
on. Yeah, that's fair.
You have to be perfectly on if you're going to call somebody
that's
an
fair.
idiot.
I'll take it all on it. You're right. You're right. You're actually right. No, I gotta own that one. But my point is like these early church fathers and these councils, like they're the ones that claim that they had been inspired by the Holy Spirit, and that's why they could choose the correct canon of the Bible, and that's the scripture you read today. And listen, my overall critique here is that you claim to
No, that is not correct.
Then how did they correctly choose the true inspired canon of the Bible?
I mean, as far as that goes, I guess the only thing I could say to that is I just have to trust that God preserved his word like he said he would in the Bible, and that the Bible that I have today is the preserved word of God. But if you believe that I can believe that the Bible is true, but wait, if you believe that I can believe that the Bible is true without faith.
Inspiring the councils. That's where the magisterium comes from. That's what the council said too. Yes, that's what the councils that chose the canon of the scripture
Can you allow me?
say.
Can you allow me to finish?
Of course.
If I do not believe that a God that can part the Red Sea and create something from nothing and raise someone from the dead can do all of those things, then I cannot believe that he was capable of protecting his righteous and holy word through the years. If you believe the words of the Bible are true, then how we got the Bible is not nearly as important
what you're saying,
as what's inside the Bible.
What you're saying implies that I'm correct, okay? You're saying that this God is capable of preserving his word. He preserved his word by having the Holy Spirit interfere with these councils.
You realize like what we have of the Bible
speaking?
and what we compare it to that's very old?
Can you not interrupt me? So my point is that God inspired, in accordance with the Christian scripture, that the Christian God inspired early church fathers and early church councils and divinely inspired them to choose the true, adequate, and correct canon of the Christian Bible. Why am I making this point? This point I'm making is very important. It's because you claimed to be a part of the reformed movements of Christianity, starting with Martin Luther. You said that you were an evangelical Baptist. Okay, well, the branch, the sect of Christianity that you hold to, that you think is true, denies the magisterium and denies the normative authority of early church fathers and church councils. Okay, why am I bringing this up? Why is this relevant to the point about abortion literally at all? Because it shows you that you cannot coherently justify the sect of Christianity that you claim. You cannot explain why your sect is right and why other sects and denominations are wrong. In fact, now I've pointed out an issue, a problem with the sect of Christianity.
Who said they were wrong?
Because you don't believe in the magisterium, which implies that the papacy is wrong. The papacy does not hold a divine authority. The papacy cannot speak in the chair of the Pope.
But Catholics don't. Yeah, but Catholics don't. But Catholics don't believe that the Pope supersedes the Bible.
So they believe in two things: oral tradition and written tradition. So the power of the papacy would fall under oral tradition, and the victor of Christ, and the seat you know, in the succession of the apostolic succession following from St. Peter. But my overwhelming point here is that you cannot coherently justify Christianity. You cannot justify that you're right and they're wrong. You cannot explain to me why the Catholics.
Who's they?
Oh my God, are you even gonna listen to me?
Wait, why are you trying to divide me against other Christians? I believe that the Christians that I stand with from a political standpoint believe that abortion is just as wrong as I do. They also think that God is the one who gives the babies. The Catholics are probably the biggest pro-life constituent on the planet. I don't know what you're trying to argue here.
Well, maybe if you'd listen, it would be clear. What I'm arguing here is that you cannot justify Christianity as you find it to be the case, meaning that it's false. I'm literally explaining how your conception
Your
of
entire
Christianity
argument
false.
is to debunk Christianity?
Yes, I'm debunking
Okay, so even if I
Christianity
could
by
be,
explaining
even
to
if,
you how you cannot explain how the canon of the Bible would follow, given your Reformed sect of evangelical, being an evangelical Baptist that upholds sola scriptura. Right? You reject the magisterium. You reject the authority of church fathers. You reject oral tradition. Okay, well, like in rejecting the normative authority of the church and apostolic succession,
we don't reject
you
oral
reject
tradition.
oral
The
tradition.
Bible
and
was
so
carried down for years orally before it was ever written down.
oral
We
tradition.
don't reject oral tradition.
Oral tradition pertaining to apostolic succession. Okay, and the reason why this is relevant is because you basically don't think that the councils that chose the canon of the Bible did so with divination from God, which means that they are not infallible, but they are rather fallible.
No, I don't believe they were divine. They did not become divine to choose the
They had
books of the
divine
Bible. I believe that
inspiration from the
God,
Holy Spirit.
for writing the Bible, not choosing the different books that go into the Bible.
So then how do you know that they chose the right books that were actually written by God?
I trust God that they chose the right books.
Okay, well, that would imply that they were divinely inspired to do so. I mean, that's what they said
I mean,
too.
that argument could be stretched very far. That could be like, I could say, well, I don't do anything. Everything that I do, because God knows it's going to happen, then that means God divinely inspired it. And that's the whole difference between God's permissive will
You understand that
and God's...
the councils literally claimed that they were divinely inspired. The councils claimed that they were backed by the Holy Spirit.
Dean, what I understand is that the level of which we are debating my individual religion is so far off from the initial talking point that we started with, that Christians support the pro-life movement and that they believe that
it's just so incredibly
their
relevant.
reasoning for that comes from God.
It is literally so fucking relevant because you can't even get past the baseline explanations on why you think the Bible is true. Like, that's it, man. Like, you
I've already told you why I think the Bible is true.
Explicitly
The Bible
deny
is true
things
because men spoke as they were carried along by the Holy Spirit. That's what the Bible says. That's why I believe it.
But how do you know that text in the Bible was divinely inspired if the early church fathers that chose the books of the Bible were not divinely inspired as they claimed?
I mean, how do you know anything? Because you believe it. I believe it.
So you're basically just saying that you have faith in it?
That's literally the whole purpose of religion. Religion is faith. Faith is religion. Are you new to religion, Dean?
So like the reduction of your claim is, I understand that there could be contradictions here. I understand that I deny the magisterium and the normative authority and power of early church fathers, but I just simply think it's true, therefore it is true. That's your argument. Like literally, you have to have faith that they were right.
It is true. I believe it. That is the purpose of faith. The premise of faith is belief. I don't know why that's so unusual to you.
Okay, if I have faith that you're a murderer, should you go to jail?
Okay, are you an atheist?
Yeah, of course.
So you know for a fact that God doesn't exist.
Answer my question. If I have faith that you're a murderer, should you go to jail? I mean,
no. So you know for a fact that God doesn't exist.
I know for a fact that the Abrahamic gods don't exist. But answer my question. If I have faith that you're a murderer, should you go to jail? Why do you
Abrahamic
from that?
gods?
Yeah,
Abrahamic gods.
Sorry, better worded conceptions of the Abrahamic God. There you go.
So you believe that all the Jews, all the Muslims, and all the Christians got it wrong.
Yes,
and
I do.
Their religion is false.
Yes, I do, and I'm explaining right now. Answer my question. If I have faith that you're a murderer,
so
should you go to jail? Why won't you answer this fucking question? Why won't you answer this question?
Because it's a ridiculous. It's a ridiculous question.
It's a ridiculous question.
But you just said
the foundation
that you know
for
for
your
a
beliefs.
fact that God does. No, I'm going to disprove the fact that your beliefs are just as ridiculous because you said you believe and you know for a fact that God does not exist.
Yeah, I think that there's explicit contradictions entailed via the Abrahamic conception of a God. But that's neither here nor
Okay,
there
do you
because you're
believe
just
that?
simply
Do you?
using this to pivot away from my
Okay,
question.
now you're.
I was able to reduce your Christian worldview down to mere faith and faith alone. So if I have mere faith and faith alone that you're a murderer, should you go to jail? The reason why you won't answer this question is because it will debunk your standard of evidence. It will
No,
just prove
because
you
your
wrong.
faith doesn't. Your faith is not reality. Your faith and what you think about me is not reality.
Oh, great. Neither is yours. Debate over.
And neither is yours. You're a man of faith as well. You believe that God doesn't exist. That's a belief, not a fact.
Yeah, but it's a belief that's not substantiated by faith, but rather by probabilities and contradictions.
There is so much more evidence for the existence of God than there is that he does not exist.
You couldn't even give me evidence that that the canon of the
Do you
Bible is
consider
infallible.
yourself an intelligent? Do you consider yourself an intelligent being?
You unironically couldn't even get. Wait. I'm so sorry, Joel. You literally couldn't give
consider-
me evidence that the canon of the Bible was
No,
infallible. In fact, you rejected the only evidence that could exist by holding to a Reformed sect of being a Baptist. I was able to get you to concede down to the baseline belief that you don't have evidence that it's infallible. It's just simply a faith-based belief. Okay? You could say that there's evidence for a creator. You could say that there's evidence for a God. You could point me towards, how did the Big Bang start, or intelligent design, and all these things. But guess what? Even if I
I'm not
accept
even
every
gonna
single
go
one of
there.
those, you have no fucking evidence that the canon of the Bible is infallible, and you reject all the evidence that could exist in holding to your Reformed
Dean, that's not
Baptist
true.
beliefs. It
now
is.
you're being dishonest.
I
You're being
showed you how
dishonest.
that's true.
And I can disprove you in 2 seconds. It's very simple. You believe yourself to be an intelligent individual.
Of course.
Have you ever seen a tremendous thing come from nothing? Have you ever seen order magically come from disorder?
Nope. Must mean there's a God.
No. We're not even getting that far. If I had an explosion in a junkyard and a Rolls Royce drove out and I said there was junkyard parts all over and they exploded together at the perfect time and out drove a perfectly working
By the way, Parker,
Rolls
you could
Royce,
hop
would
in
you
whenever
agree that
you
that's a
want.
reasonable thing?
I just want to let you know you could hop in whatever you want, Parker. Nope, completely.
Would you agree that
unreasonable.
that's a reasonable belief?
It's completely
Okay.
unreasonable.
And I know you love, I'm sure you've probably had your fair share of the man versus gorilla arguments. Is a gorilla stronger than a man?
Yep.
So without intelligence, how long would humans exist on this planet without their superior intelligence?
Very, not that long.
So without the invention of weapons, without our being able to find fire, that's what I believe, that the Bible makes sense of this all by saying God created humans in their current state with the intelligence that they currently have, which is why we have not gone extinct. We have dominated every single aspect of the world. There is no being on earth that can stand toe to toe with a human and win in an out and out battle. You say, oh, well, a whale. We were killing whales with spears. That takes genius. If you deny that humans are the most intelligent species on the planet and that it would logically conclude that a more intelligent creator created them, then you're the one who needs help with your faith, because that takes a whole lot more faith than believing in intelligent design when everything that we see in society that is intelligent has a designer. You don't think your
He's reading off
iPhone
of
or your
fucking
camera that's so high quality. I am not reading off of anything,
Can
bro.
I respond to that quick?
I've been doing this since 2018. I don't need to read off of flashcards.
Okay, so Joel, I just want to let you know, in terms of the intelligent design argument, this is a horrible argument. The reason why this is a horrible argument is because we have no priors with beings creating universes. There's nothing about that we have priors with to be able to make that type of determination. Therefore, you can't make that type of conclusion because you don't have priors with that particular type of thing. You can make a claim that yes, in typical, we expect to see a creator if it is the case that there is a set of intelligent stuff. But that's because we have, say, in certain circumstances, priors with, say, human beings creating books, right? We have priors with that, so we can make that type of determination. If we didn't have priors, we couldn't make such a reasonable conclusion.
Really?
Okay.
So
Also,
what
this doesn't
intelligent
entail
functioning
Christianity.
system right now? Yeah,
He's not
what
gonna listen.
intelligent functioning system
he's not gonna
exists
listen,
in the
Parker.
world that was not created with a creator?
Wouldn't I would say evolution isn't something you can determine as a byproduct of a creator. Are you saying that, like, under a naturalist worldview, that like evolution is somehow like not possible to allow for human beings to exist?
He doesn't believe evolution.
Is that your argument?
Right, because humans are not the fittest. Survival of the fittest denies that humans would have survived as long as they do. We're not the fittest.
Okay, so you're saying that it is the case that human beings, right, can't survive within the context of nature, and that's why. So how do you explain the fossil evidence and historical evidence of human beings existing? right? And also like our prior ancestors,
By the way, I
right?
gotta.
And also
I
on
don't
the
think.
planet
Yeah, I don't.
existing.
I don't think
I
we're
gotta head off
smart.
in
Yeah,
5 minutes.
I don't think we. Yeah, I don't think. I don't think our ancestors were dumber than us. Have you seen the pyramids? Have you seen the things they were able to accomplish with much
I'm
less
sorry, when I say
technology than we have?
ancestors, that goes back millions of years. That goes back a
Okay, well,
lot
that's a
further than what
belief,
you're thinking.
Parker.
Well, that's
That's
based
a
upon
belief.
evidence. That's based upon evidence.
It's
right?
not based upon evidence.
It is. It is.
If you use the same dating methods to date the age of known things in this world today, they do not hold up. And what did
What
they
does that
say the
even
margin
mean?
of
I'm
error
confused. The date,
was
what
between
using
one?
what dating
Yeah,
mechanism?
Radiometric dating. They said that the margin of error was between 1 and 2 million years. That's a concept of time nobody's ever lived through.
Wait, you understand
That's a
that's not the
belief.
that's
You're a
also not
believer,
the
Parker.
that's not the only concept of like dating, right? There's dating outside of the context
Give
of
me
radiometric
any
dating.
dating. Give me any dating method.
Wait.
Give me any dating method.
Wait.
We can do.
So the idea that radiometric dating or like uranium lead dating can like date back a couple million years. It's not just like
Is a belief.
So it's a belief based on fact. So they just see how much like the half-life of
It
like,
is not. It's based on assumption.
So no, it's based upon how much like the half-life of like uranium may decay in a year, and then they see how much that decay would have to take place in order for it to be fucking gone, using science and math, and they're like, oh, 2 million years. So therefore, this dating method can only date back 2 million years based upon the amount of decay that took place in like 5 or 10 years, and then they just project that out until it would be gone. Boom, science.
But that's based on an assumption that it's moving at the same rate and that it will continue to move at the same rate throughout time. But here, let me ask you this very, very important question. How old is
a
written?
presuppositionalist argument saying that like we don't have good reason to accept science or math?
How long
what you're saying?
has written language been around?
I'm asking you,
How long has written language been around?
Do you think there isn't justification for science or math?
I think that your justification is flawed because we know how long written language has been around, 6,500 years. And we went from 6,500 years of writing things on tablets to now we are video chatting thousands of miles apart.
Joel, I understand,
on
but like
a
if you
separate screen.
I get it,
If you look
but
at
if
the
you
rate
don't,
at which that
can you mute him real quick?
technological advance occurred. Can you give me 10 seconds?
No. If you don't believe in science, I'm not going to be able to use science to be able to convince you of anything.
Science. I do believe in science.
If you do believe
and the
in
science
science,
that I see says
hold up. If
that
you do believe in science, let me respond to this, right? If you do believe in science, well, then you would agree with the scientific professionals that indicate that the Earth, right, is over 4 billion years old, right? And you would disagree, right, with people who dispute evolution without reason because there's a scientific consensus on that as well.
Which evolution?
What do you mean, which evolution? On that
Which
evolution occurred?
macro or micro?
Both. Wait,
nope, they're not the same. One means change over time, which I will agree things change over time, but they tend to decay.
Macro is just micro plus time. That's it.
But do you understand the amount of time you assume must occur to get the kind of changes that you would need for evolution to even work?
No, that we have evidence, right, that's been that long, right?
We do not. We do not have evidence of it.
You're saying there's no evidence the Earth is 4.6 billion years old?
I'm saying that there is no way that someone can say definitively that a block of time that we have no concept of is for sure where it is when the margin of error contains millions of years.
But then why do all of these different sciences come up with the same 4.6 million, whether that be through the dating through lead, whether that be through other sorts of mechanisms? Practically every view of science, right?
Okay, name a method. Then, okay, Parker, name a method of dating.
Wait, I just gave you multiple. You can also use
uranium lead.
You can use rock layers, right? You can also
Can you give me just name one?
I'm naming things you can use to date
uranium
things.
lead. Is that what you want? Uranium lead dating?
You can use uranium.
Okay, let's go with that one.
Based on the decay. So like I'm confused what your point is. Also, like again, I'm just asking you, do you accept scientific professionals what they typically identify on a consensus basis?
The margin of error for uranium lead dating can be as low as 2 to 2.5 million years.
That's very small for billions of years.
And
you know that margin of error is incredibly small for billions of years? Are you kidding me, dude? He's comparing millions to literally multiple billions. Okay? Sure, it could be within 2 million, but 2 million to multiple billion is such a small fucking fraction of a number.
I fear this is
But
like common
the time
sense.
that we've been writing, the time that we've been writing things down is 6,500 years ago. We are under 10,000 years for definitive. We know for a fact people were writing it down. We know this happened. If our
Wait, but we have
margin of
human fossils that
concept
go
of
back
time,
hundreds of thousands.
no,
We have
we
human
don't.
fossils that go. Yes, we do.
Who's Lucy?
No, we don't. We have
He
human
hasn't been-
fossils that they
he hasn't
dated
been to a
with a
museum,
margin of
dude.
error that's 1 to 2 million years.
Who's Lucy?
An unusual chimpanzee. There's no evidence that that was ever. Okay, present to me the evidence that it was an upright walking human.
Okay,
And that would be
I'm
one
sorry,
skeleton.
Joel.
You would need thousands of
Joel,
transitional
can I
skeletons
can I
to even
clarify
begin
with
to
you?
prove your point.
Hey, can I clarify with you real quick? Like, you're asking Dean and Parker, who one are not scientific professionals, but two can report
I'm a
to.
free climber
Let me
from
please
Ohio,
finish.
Parker.
Let me please finish. We can report to the literally thousands of scientific professionals across the United States, hundreds of thousands across the world that disagree with
Parker,
you.
that's an
identify
appeal
a
to authority.
consensus. Well, I think that there's a legitimate
How many
probability.
scientific professionals in the year 1000 thought the Earth was flat?
Joel, when I'm making the claim that with the current scientific evidence that we have, with the current professionals that we have, that it's very likely to be accurate, I'm giving a probabilistic claim. I'm not saying it's certain to be true. I'm saying it's most probable to be true based upon
Can you
evidence.
repeat that? You were gone for 5 seconds. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I'm saying it's most
You were
probable
out
to be
for 5
true.
seconds.
I'm saying it's most probable to be true based on the evidence. Like when you go to the doctor, do you not listen to what the doctor says?
I don't go to the doctor.
You don't ever go to the doctor? Okay, can I clarify, right? If you like broke your
No.
arm, would you go to the doctor? No?
I'd probably go to like an urgent care to get
That is-
like stitched up in a cast, but that's very different than
Why?
I don't go to the doctor because I believe that doctors are profit motivated, and so they're going to get you hooked on some drugs, and it's going to ruin your life.
Okay. One, there are plenty of doctors that you don't have to like take a diagnosis or anything. You don't have to like take any drugs, right? Also, like I've been to the doctor.
Yeah, but they're profit motivated, so they're
hold up.
profit motivated,
I
so they are
understand.
going to
hold
insist
up.
that you take drugs.
You could just deny the addictive substances like opioids.
It
Yes.
does not
Also,
work like that.
Joel,
It
Joel,
does.
can I let me please finish this. Joel, what you're not understanding is that every single system is profit motive. If you don't want that profit motive to exist, how about you advocate for universal health care? Wait, you're advocating for Donald Trump right now on the live, who is not advocating for that type of system, wants it to be profit based, right? And wants to lay back the restrictions on these companies so that they can gouge you more for basic healthcare needs.
So here's what I know. I know that just saying something is the pharmaceutical version of something doesn't magically make it non-addictive or safe, and so I just choose not to be addicted to drugs.
Joel, that's
and
not
so
what we're asking you.
I
We're
do
not
not
asking
go
you to do that.
places in which
No, do you get typical checkups?
no.
No. Do you go to the dentist?
Have I gone to the dentist
wait,
before?
Do you
Or
go
do I
to the
regularly?
dentist?
What
Do
are you
still
wait?
go?
What are you scared about of getting addicted to?
I mean, I guess technically a dentist. So my family has a history of
you
drug
brush
and
your teeth?
alcohol abuse.
Okay, but Joe,
What do you think?
what are you
Okay.
scared of? What are you scared of getting
Dean,
addicted
can I please
to?
finish this point real quick?
Sure, and then I want to
Yeah,
respond
so-
to this whole thing about getting addicted to pharmaceuticals with doctors.
For sure. If you brush your teeth, you at least believe to some degree that the scientific evidence that indicates that your toothpaste is effective is legitimate and valuable.
Yeah, but that's real. That's real world science. That's not just.
That's real world
not
science. Same
Speculation.
thing with
yeah,
evolution.
That's not speculation.
That's
No,
the same
no,
thing with
Is
evolution.
not real world. No,
Yes, it
millions
is.
of years, and saying that the Earth came about in millions of years. When you're guessing, you're an educated person with a degree, and you're guessing.
Dude, you understand that if you make calculations, right, based upon certain set of parameters, right, if you're
if your
saying that you're
parameters are
guessing,
off?
well, then you're also saying that the doctor's guessing when he offers you to do something.
They
The-
are
the
guessing,
dentist,
and they
well,
legally-
technically,
And they
the
have
de-
legal protections based on the fact that
let
they're
me
guessing.
please
That's
finish.
why
Let
they
me
say
please
you
finish.
have a legal right
Technically,
to practice medicine.
oh,
It's called a
this is
practice for a reason.
unbearable to deal with. Okay, so technically, the dentists are also guessing, right, when saying that toothpaste is going to be effective based upon the data that they have.
Is there
right?
Is there fluoride? Is there fluoride in it?
Yeah.
Is there sugar in the toothpaste?
No.
There's lots of sugar in toothpaste.
Okay, if there's some in, then you can talk about that. You
So-
can
so
talk
we
about the
all
effects.
agree that
you know the
objectively,
negative impacts of
sugar
sugar
is
because of
bad,
science.
right?
Because of science.
But Right, and I agree. I'm not anti. Do you think I'm anti-science?
Yes, yes.
Because I
So,
don't believe the Earth is
toothpaste does
millions of
not
years
No,
old.
no, no, because you don't believe in evolution, because you don't believe in the dating of the Earth, because you don't believe in basic
That's not
science.
true. I
Um,
did not say that.
so
Evolution
sugar.
as change
Wait a
over
second.
time, I
Toothpaste
absolutely believe in.
Toothpaste does not contain sugar.
Oh,
It's not
rough.
correct.
It contains like sweeteners, but not sugar.
Toothpaste can contain sugar.
No. Name
What
one-
toothpaste?
name
Tell me
one
what
food-
toothpaste contains sugar.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you one.
Okay.
And then also, I gotta end the stream here. We're already 5 minutes over when I wanted to end. I did want to say though, while you're researching toothpaste with sugar, you're saying that you don't go to your annual checkups because you're scared of getting addicted to drugs. So they don't like just give you opioids to take at your annual checkups. I don't.
What do you
Wait.
think? Yeah, what do you
Oh my
think?
god! Oh my
oxycodone
god!
is?
Oh my! Wait, hold up. Wait, you did you
Wait,
say
what
that
do you
your
think
partner is?
oxycodone
Wait,
is?
is your partner pregnant?
My partner?
Yes.
I don't believe in using terms like that. That's
Oh,
ridiculous.
I'm sorry, you don't believe in those terms. Okay, is your partner
I
pregnant?
have a wife.
Is
I
your
have
wife
someone I'm
is,
married to.
Is your wife pregnant?
Okay,
Oh my gosh.
Snowflake. Does your
What
wife,
kind of question is that? I told you she was pregnant
does
already.
Your wife
Oh,
go to the
okay.
doctor and
What
whatnot?
about prenatal care?
She goes to the. She has a midwife and a doula.
And
It's
you,
like
and you
a-
believe the doctor
like a
then,
more-
right?
Those aren't doctors. Those are more traditional forms for a natural birth.
Okay, wait. So you don't go to. Okay, so wait. Repeat what you said.
You know that like Amish birth thousands of babies a year
I
without
understand.
going to the doctor?
Can I finish off with my point?
High rates of natural disaster.
You guys are crazy.
Go ahead.
What? So I really wanted clarification on this point. You said that you don't go to your annual checkups because you're scared of getting addicted to drugs. They do not give you opioids at your annual checkups. What the fuck are you talking about?
So when I was playing professional soccer, I tore my ACL, and they tried to prescribe me like 500 milligrams of OxyContin. My sister, who's a nurse,
Yeah.
said, "Whatever you do, deal with the pain. Do not take any pain medication."
Okay.
I didn't
okay.
take any pain medication.
Okay.
Wait, listen. I didn't take any pain medication. I returned to full, complete recovery play in 3 months, which is one of the fastest ACL tear recovery times in the history of sports.
How are
Okay,
you saying that's
so-
related to that instead of?
Can-
Wait, it could be some other
I-
factor that explains that.
I just
Like what?
Okay.
Because I'm black and we're just better at sports.
What? What? That has nothing. Wait. So listen. You understand saying there could be another explanation instead of it just being the drug, right? Or not taking of the drugs, right? Is not at all relating to any specific thing. I'm just saying it could have been a different explanation. What?
You realize that okay, Mr. Science, you realize that pain is your body telling you something's not okay. So just masking pain does not cure the illness. It just masks the symptoms,
You're
right?
saying certain things can help with it, right? But you saying that specifically that's helping with your particular pain. You saying that specifically led to a reduction
I'm not against-
of the
hey, Parker,
time that
I'm
it
not
took
against
for you to
ana-
recover is not based upon evidence. Is an anecdotal claim. I
Okay,
said could
Parker,
be
I'm
explained
not
by
against-
any other
I'm not
set of
against-
explanation.
I happen to know a lot about
I'm not
this
against
topic, so I'd love
antibiotics.
to,
I'm not against
like, hop in there.
antibiotics because I understand that like penicillin and stuff is very important.
So-
it's a useful.
Can I hop in here?
But
Like, I
if
just really
but if you
wanna
think
make a
that painkillers and we don't have a painkiller epidemic in America right now, bro, open up.
Bro,
open
we do.
Google and
We
Google.
do. We do.
No
Joe,
one disputed that.
we actually, I probably agree with you more than disagree on this point specifically. And it actually is true that the data can demonstrate that the use of opioids can like slow the healing process of particular ailments. Like for instance, for lower back pain and back surgeries, people that are prescribed opioids stay out of work longer than those that aren't. Okay, so there actually may be something there to back what you're saying, possibly. All right, but I guess what I'm saying is this doesn't mean that you just have to be in total rejection of all medicine. Like you could still go to the doctor. In fact, you could even still get operated on. You could still be like a normal, functioning, healthy person that gets checked up on while just denying like opioids. In fact, that's what I do.
Yeah. So I'm not. No,
wait,
no. Yeah.
Joe, if I could.
Yeah,
just
Dean,
let
I'm
me-
not against
that's-
all medicine.
That's what I do.
I just
too.
prefer to go for a natural alternative
but these two
to
things
some
don't
chemical
contradict one
from a
another.
lab.
So you could still go to a doctor and get your chemicals from labs that save millions and millions of life every single year while just simply rejecting addictive opioids. That's what I do. You know, like my mom got addicted to opioids and I grew up homeless for a little bit because of that. And the origin was a bad accident where she got prescribed them from her doctors. So we absolutely do have an,
But
an
they have
epidemic where there is
and
a lot of doctors that are profit-driven that engage in malpractice and prescribe their patients opioids just to get them hooked so they keep on coming back. I personally
right, and I
believe
can't
that.
believe I'm saying this, but I would agree with you that you cannot have unchecked, unregulated capitalism because no, the market is not pure. No, people are not pure. No, profit motives are not pure. And unfortunately,
What's not
people are
focused on
greedy and people
capitalism?
are going to do what they
But
can
this doesn't lead to
to
rejection
do whatever
of
they can to make
this.
most money.
But this doesn't lead to rejection of modern medicine, though. It just leads to rejection of
No, I don't.
opioids for you
Who said I
personally.
rejected modern? Yeah, who said I rejected modern
Yeah,
medicine?
you don't even go to your annual checkups because of opioids.
That's what we
No,
were.
I don't go to
That's what
get.
we were
Yeah,
bringing up.
no.
Wait, Joel. The whole reason
Well,
we
no,
brought this up in the
I have a
first place was
I
saying
have a
that you.
naturopathic doctor that comes by the house and checks up on me.
Okay, well, oh my gosh, there we go. That's all we were trying to at least to some degree address is that you
Right,
accept.
but he doesn't prescribe any
Oh
opiates.
my, I'm gonna go.
Oh my God! You could still go to like a PhD doctor at the hospital and just simply deny opioids in the rare instances when they want to provide them to you. You'd be significantly healthier.
I don't even take like ibuprofen or Tylenol. For
Fine, me
oh
neither.
my gosh.
I actually don't either, which is crazy that we both are like this. But it's irrational, okay? But regardless
And
of the
I'm
fact
also
it's
not, like,
irrational,
I'm also
you
not
can you can continue to make that same irrational decision while still also claiming everything else for modern medicine. Okay, make that one irrational decision of just denying pain meds, but then still engaging in the remainder
Wait,
of
you
the
think that's an irrational
99.99999% of
Wait, you think that's an irrational decision?
Advil and Tylenol? Yeah.
What do you mean?
I think it's irrational to reject those when your body needs them. I
But
don't see
didn't
any
you
reason.
just say you reject them?
That's opioids, and I do sometimes with Advil and Tylenol. But I think that's an irrational decision that I make.
So wait, why is it irrational for me, but it's not irrational for you?
He just said it was irrational.
I think it is
Oh
an
my
irrational
God.
decision.
It's
that I've
not.
made before.
It's not irrational.
Okay,
Because
well,
I think that you can get addicted to a feeling, even if it's on a smaller
Can I
scale,
explain why
and
we're
that
even at
can
this
be
conversation in
problematic
the
for your
first
history.
place? Can I explain why we're in this conversation in the first place? Because the reason why I brought this up originally was because I'm just demonstrating to you that you accept, right, the experts, what they say in typical because it's most probable to be true, right? That's where you're getting this information from, right? Is going to be the experts on a consensus basis, right? So if that's where you get the evidence when it comes to that, why don't you do the same thing with evolution? You can still believe in your religion and
Because
just
I believe
in
I
evolution.
believe in evolution. I believe in evolution
No,
as
you
in change
don't.
over time. I don't believe in evolution as in speciation, where one species can turn into another
That's an
species. Because
aspect
I've
of
never seen it.
evolution. We
I've
have
never seen
observed
it
it.
occur.
We have
Where?
observed it with finches.
What have we
We've
observed?
Finches.
They did not turn
This is
into
historical
alligators. They
example.
stayed finches.
I gotta end.
They
Oh
stayed
my God!
finches.
It's
That's not
a
speciation.
Wait, what do you think speciation is? Do you think a speciation means it evolves from an alligator to a bird? What the fuck are you thinking speciation is?
Yes,
it means
if
it goes
something
into it. Means there's enough difference in the DNA where there's a difference in the genetic code, insofar as that we establish that there's a different species. So it's actually kind of like an arbitrary threshold.
But wait, a finch is the same species.
It's a different species of finch. Oh my gosh. You know there are multiple different species of finch, right?
Right, but it's still always a finch. It's never becomes a lizard, or vice versa.
It's a different species.
Evolution
So speciation
requires animals to change.
One more minute.
Yeah, I don't think
Evolution
that
requires
the minute
animals to
even
change
matters.
to different. No, but it requires animals to change into different animals. You believe,
Dude,
you
you don't
believe
have
that
to
what,
believe this in
dinosaurs
order
were
to believe in
birds?
your you can not believe this, right? And still believe in your
Right,
religion.
but I'm saying that that's still a belief. You have a belief. You believe
Wait,
that
no one
dinosaurs
said
evolved into birds,
I have beliefs, but those beliefs are based on
but you don't have
evidence.
proof of that.
We do have evidence.
We've
We
never
have evidence.
observed a dinosaur.
That's not what we
In order
claimed.
for
We never
something to be
claimed a
scientifically
dinosaur
proven,
turned like we didn't say like a dinosaur like evolved like Pokemon into a bird. You understand that it's going to be over significant
you need
levels
millions
of
of
time.
years, and that's a belief.
Change in genetic code,
Right,
And
and you
that
need
change in
millions of
genetic
years.
code becomes so vast over time, right? That it would be the case that you'd see differences in species, and that difference in species over time contributes to differences in other species, right? In the long run, which then over time, over a very, very long periods of time, happens enough times where you're going to see a huge distinction in the species that exist now versus the species that existed
Dean,
in
can
the
I make a
past.
final statement and I'll be done? It'll be 20 seconds.
Kylan, thank you so much for the $20 over on PayPal. I really appreciate you so much for the love, as well as Kim. Thank you so much for the $11. Yeah, that's fine. Make one last statement, and then I'm going to tell you that ibuprofen and Advil is not addictive and that you have no rational reasons to reject it. But hey, that's you.
I just don't believe in putting any form of drugs into my body
You should
because I
try it
don't
out.
believe that it's healthy.
You should try it out one day, man.
Yeah,
I'm not even
So
joking. Because I used to think that same shit. I tried it. It made my life better when I cut my finger. It fucking destroyed it, mashed
is
it.
vaping making your life better, Dean?
Nah, that's bad. That's rude.
Hey,
You
anxiety.
can't.
Yes. So I'm not
It's an
taking
Yeah, you
anxiety
I'm not
pen.
can't.
taking
You can't.
It is an anxiety
You
pen.
can't.
I'm
You
not
can't.
taking
Get it
health
right.
advice
You
from you.
can't. You cannot compare the anxiety pin to ibuprofen.
Mhm.
You
Well, I don't know if
motherfucker.
I'm gonna take my medical advice from you.
Ah, you're
This is
so
this
fuck
is.
you. You're so disingenuous. You're so disingenuous.
But
It's an
no,
anxiety pin, though. No, on a real note, it's not even a vape. It's an anxiety
so
pin,
okay. And on a real note,
and it's
Parker
all
Dean, I
natural
don't hate
too.
the ground that you guys walk on. I actually have tremendous respect for the fact that you guys are knowledgeable about what you talk about, and you don't just get up and rage quit and scream at people. And you guys run very organized lives. I have tremendous respect for you for that. My final statement regarding the whole evolution thing is, if it takes millions of years and you believe it, then that's a belief. The idea that science has to be observable, testable, and repeatable has been the premise for something to be a scientific law forever. You can't observe, test, or repeat the past. So everything that is past when we were writing things down, so everything older than 10,000 years, is a belief because we don't have any proof of someone who observed it and then wrote it down. So that's just my 2 cents. Thank you guys for having me up,
Wait, but
and I
evolution
wish
is
you all the
observable,
best.
testable, and repeatable.
It is not
And
observable, testable, and
and
repeatable.
and
Speciation is not.
yeah,
It
and
is.
tests
It has
on
been.
and tests with like carbon dating, uranium lead dating, etc. are also observable, testable, and repeatable.
Right, but we already acknowledged that the margin of error was a million years, a concept of
Yeah,
that no one has any time.
as comparison to 4.6 billion years. So again, 1 to 2 million years is very small in comparison to 4.6 billion years. Right, that's way less than 1%. Okay.
I kicked him so the circle wouldn't restart. Yeah, see, that guy's kind of nuts. Not gonna lie. The Advil point really got me. It's rare that I come across somebody that like is like vehemently anti-Advil. You know what I mean?
Diabolical.
Yeah, that's an
Are you
interesting
getting off for
one.
tonight?
Yeah, I'm gonna get off. Parker, are you gonna go live?
Yep, I'll go live on this account, and I'm obviously still already live on my YouTube. Parker, get a job.
Cool. What account are you on?
Parker, get a real job, man.
Parker, get a real job. All right, I'll send them on a raid. Take care, man.
All right, I'll see you. Good seeing you, man.
Good seeing you as well. Hey, so for the 6.5 thousand people in the TikTok stream, I am tired as fuck. Been live for around 4.5 hours, so I'm gonna go ahead and hop off for the day. On your way out, you should go ahead and hit that follow button. I'm on here every single day, as well as make sure you follow my Instagram at Dean Withers. I've been posting more frequently on there than I have on any Instagram or any TikTok feed. And then one other thing, if you like my content, you've been here a couple times, you should consider joining my Discord community. We have close to 18,000 people in there. It's a really good community in there, and I honestly find myself hanging out in the chats there quite a bit. So chances are, if you do join and you are active, you will run into me one day. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end. I really appreciate everyone so much for showing up, and I will see you tomorrow. If you're on TikTok, you should go raid at Parker Get a Real Job. He's doing the same debates I am for another couple hours. And then if you're over on the YouTube at Parker Get a Job, doing the same debates I am for a handful of hours. Okay, peace and love, y'all. Take care.